Now?
Yep. There we go.
Yeah,
Cool.
we did it. Nice.
Rare in Canadian politics. The last time was from 1993 to 2006. Two leaders, that was Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin.
Right.
Some similarities here again because this is happening with two different leaders. Tell your thoughts.
But it is also that Mark Carney is
You can't hear any tabs I have in the background, can you?
No.
Okay, perfect.
become the new leader of a very unpopular government. Get a boost in the polls.
Just gonna move my mic a little bit farther away.
For the course, but to hold that lead long enough to not go in that portrait gallery.
Yes.
As someone about whom the kids ask, who's that?
Who is that?
guy? Yeah. That is quite an achievement when you go back 4 months.
Well,
To where we were. This is not the election night that anyone.
They called it, and you called it.
It's not the election
Yeah.
night. Looking at those numbers, that
Easy.
either or the
No, pretty devastating numbers, and we'll come back to them. But I want to get.
it's going to be really funny.
You are a former. We'll have to make that decision not to run.
The conservatives are going to lose their minds, like conservative supporters.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's going to be very
I
funny.
think what
Do you think it's gonna be a minority or a majority?
I think it's going to be a minority, but I think that they might exceed my expectations. If I think there's a chance that they're going to, yeah, there might be a chance they get a majority, which would be fucked.
Oh, yeah, that would be really awful.
Yeah, the best case scenario is for a minority government, because then the bloc would be able to hold the balance of power. And yeah,
we saw an inability for a pivot on the part of Pierre Poilievre. And I think you've seen the results. They've decided that they want mature professional leadership, and that's what they're getting with Mark Carney. And I think it's a really important time for Canada because there's a lot of hard work to be done.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of government we'll end up with here, Andrew, because that also sends a message. If Canadians opt for a minority,
It
that
wouldn't have
also
happened
sends a
without
message to
Donald
liberals
Trump,
and to
I don't
conservatives.
think.
But
What?
that's how I knew it was
No
going to happen.
kidding.
a remarkable.
That's how I knew it was going to
Not
happen.
happened without
Yeah.
Donald Trump, I don't think. If Mark Carney had simply come in and said, well, I'm changed, I'm a new prime minister, I'm not sure that would have been enough to carry the day. I'm not sure if Trump alone would be enough to carry the day, though. I think it's the combination of, so far as the first part of the campaign in particular, focused.
Well, it's like what they tried to do with Kamala, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, to try to get, it's like creating a new face without losing, like, but it doesn't work in their system because there's only two choices, right? But in this system, you know what I mean? It shakes out where there's numerous choices. So,
Do you think NDP is gonna lose their like party position?
status?
Yeah, that
Well, they need 12.
12. Yeah.
So
oh,
I don't
they're
think
okay.
so.
They went up one.
That would be horrible. You know what? That might actually be a good thing. You know what I mean? Because it would like demand to create like a new federal NDP at least.
I was listening to your interview with Eve earlier, and you guys talking about the Green Party and the potential space for a new person to take over, right?
Yeah, I think it would have to be like a movement, not a person, because the guy who's in, like, the guy now, Pedno,
Yeah.
he's like not good news either, but
Yeah.
if there can maybe be something where there was like a leadership race, right? Where there was like an actual like leadership election for a new leader, I can see that like at least means something, for especially if the NDP lost party status, then it would be like probably for sure,
Yeah. Oh, they're bringing up some Quebec places. Longueuil.
The Conservatives, but most
Wow.
at the expense of the bloc.
Oof. At the
The numbers
cons,
that we're seeing
though.
early.
Oh,
Let's
wow.
see where it's happening. We're going to take a quick zip around the sun.
Good. I'm surprised they voted Liberal, honestly. I'm really surprised.
Yeah, so not projected
No.
elected, but still interesting trend lines. And let's start with Churchill Ashton has been the MP.
You're somehow ahead of me.
Since 2008.
Oh, am I? Oh, probably only by like a couple seconds, I think.
It's not a big deal. It's just, I don't know how that happens.
I'm watching is it the YouTube live stream?
Oh, yes, that's okay. Yeah, that
Golden
makes sense.
St. Paul, one of the Winnipeg ridings.
I thought you were like ahead of me on my own stream. I was
Oh, no.
To newcomer, hard to find information about.
I watched
but he was acclaimed
quite a
as
few of
candidate when polls suggested
the
there was
leader
little
debates in
chance
both French and English, and I was actually surprised with how many like block positions. I was like, oh, that's actually like pretty progressive and really good. And then when it came to like class and race, I was like, oh, yikes! Like, oh,
Yeah,
this is bad.
Yves is hilarious because like for every great thing that he says like 3 terrible things. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like he has such a good stance on like pipelines, on like environment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just like
How do
general,
you go so wrong?
like just like materialist understanding of like the Canadian economy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he just says like, the Jewish community is being harassed by Islamists. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, bro,
Like, yeah,
you need
totally.
to, like, you need to, like,
Like,
oh.
you're too white, man. You're too white.
But
You
that's the
gotta,
thing is he's so savvy that he knows that if he says that, you know, like
that he has a huge population behind him.
yeah, and he does the thing where he said in the same breath in that debate, we must protect the people of Gaza from the atrocities being committed by Israel. And we also need to protect the Jewish community from the radical Islamists in our country. Where it's like, how do you two sides that? We're like,
That's the weird way to phrase it too, you know? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's like think tanked. You know what I mean? Like,
what do you think the students are doing? Like, you think students are sitting in the classrooms like, yeah, we're gonna be jihadists now. That'll show these guys. Like,
yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. It's like, and it works. Like it works for them, you know, like because
oh yeah,
he's able to just grab votes from every little, you know what I mean? I almost voted for them until he said that thing about the Islamist.
I felt the exact same way, dude. I was like, you're making some great points.
Well,
I'm like, I hear you, and I don't disagree with a lot of it. And then that comes out of his mouth, and I'm like,
yeah, and my riding only had like the 5 major parties. You know, there was no like further left party at all. So I had to vote green.
I think mine was like that too, actually. I think so.
I mean, that's
because our ratings are pretty close too. So
yeah, I guess that makes sense. And when I voted in 2021, there was so many. There was like 12 choices. I lived in like the beaches in Toronto, and there was like 12
in
choices.
Vancouver, it was the same. I had like the ballots were huge.
Yeah.
Like you really had to know like who you were voting for.
I voted for in 2021, I voted for the Animal Liberation Party.
Hell.
Because I was like, I was going to vote communist. And at the time, I was still kind of just like, I didn't fully like, because I heard that they were like, oh, anti-Semitic, you know, and that shit still like worked on me at the time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sure,
So I was
get
just
it.
like, that's problematic. So then I was like, I'm going to vote for the Animal Liberation Party. And I saw that
Honestly, oh yeah.
the leader of the party was like 88 years old. And I was just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, all right, let's go. Oh, look at that. Green came in with 1.
I wonder who it is.
NDP went from
Oh, shit.
7 to 5.
And my colleagues are all keen on securing the majority.
Libs are only 14 away from majority.
How much is it again? 162, 72?
174.
Althea made a little
174.
bit of a squint there,
That
winced
makes
a little bit
sense.
as you spoke. So I'm going to let her talk before I get some more results.
Well, I was going to say on the whole, like, thing you should give a testament to, it's all of the liberal backbenchers who tried to get Justin Trudeau to leave. Chrystia Freeland, who finally, frankly, knifed him. If Justin Trudeau had not left, there is no way we would see the result that they're seeing right now, even with Donald Trump in the White House. So there's other
People had a fun time at the polling station today because originally I was told I couldn't vote. That was super weird.
Yeah, that happened to the person in front of me, and I had to stay and wait for them to deal with it.
That's exactly what happened to me today. Yeah. It was
What
super
happened? Did you have
weird.
to like take the oath?
No,
Oh,
thank goodness,
that's
because
what happened to the person.
but it's because yeah, I'm like, "Ugh, no, thank you."
Year
But
2020,
I
there's a lot of potential.
while I was doing my semester, I just
to pick
like
up seats. So-
went online to do a mail-in ballot because I didn't think I'd have time to like actually go to the polling station. So I brought like the paperwork with me and everything, but I guess like on their sheet it shows that I had like an S, so a special ballot, so my name was crossed off. And the head guy at the polling station was like, no, you can't vote today. And I was like, wait. And the guy that was like actually like checking my name and stuff, he's like, hold on, that can't be how that works.
Yeah.
Anyway, we figured it out. They just like filled out a form. I guess it just like confirms that you're only voting once.
Oh yeah.
So that if by chance, you try and cheat the system, they like fine you and like all that stuff. Oh, Eve won his
That's what happened there. But some of those
one is writing.
Okay.
Sorry, Yves Francois.
Let's have
Oh,
look at someone who is,
yeah, Blanchet.
having a difficult night, but at least his own writing is secure. That's in the writing of Belle. He has
I mean, obviously.
in that writing. But he is,
Although the Liberals probably spend a lot of fucking money trying to fuck him. What I want to see is if Pierre keeps his seat.
I know,
That would be
right?
so
I think that's
jokey,
kind of like
dude.
everyone's kind of like, all right, let's
watch some of those numbers because, as we've told you, the vote is changing. It is close
I will
still
die laughing.
across the country, and that is why we are waiting to tell you whether you have a minority or majority government. Rafi Bouchikanian, I can see you there. François Blanchet has been elected. We have the decision desk has projected him elected, but not a strong evening so far for the Bloc Québécois. What are you hearing?
Do you know on average like how many seats that the bloc holds?
a lot of cheers for people you'd
Like for maybe the last few elections.
like a stalwart of the party, but
Gaspésie, yes.
it's not the results they're looking for. 20.
Last year in 2021 they had 32.
So like
18 they had 32, and
They're trying to be, enthusiastic. They did have one major win. We were talking
What?
about Gaspésie earlier. Well, they won that riding.
in fucking 2015 they had 10. Oh, it's because Trudeau took it.
oh, I see.
The gay Frenchman.
He's been there for a while.
You know what I mean? Not like that
Yeah,
one.
no,
The guy
I
who
get it.
like proudly march at Pride and just like that's his whole politics, Like, and people are like, "Oh my God, yeah." I
I
honestly,
have been one of those. I have a picture with. I say this very ashamedly, but I have a picture with Trudeau.
bro, I voted for Chrystia Freeland once.
We all do things we're not proud of.
So-
Right? Hindsight 2020.
I voted for Petno now as well. So I probably voted for like 2 intelligence assets. I just, in principle, didn't feel like I was gonna vote NDP because I was just like, they supported the Liberals for so long. It's like,
They did, and I think also what they
I
did to
don't think
Gemma
anyone at this
was
point is looking to challenge the leader.
yeah, especially with Jagmeet not doing anything about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's 2 different parties, but still, you know what I mean? It's still the same party.
exactly like you
because
need to have
of special
solidarity across.
circumstances. But it wasn't a judgment on the Bloc Québécois that they were making. Now that
it was
being
a
said,
shame.
This is I really like listening to her because like she's similar to Blanchet.
never left.
Where like everything she says is like it's always she's right for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? And she just because of like the Quebec dynamic, she just is able to read it so much better than everybody else.
Now that I'm actually like living here, I like my understanding of Quebec politics is so different to what it used to be. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's a part of the reason why I moved here because I realized that like it's like Quebec is like all of the swing states combined.
Yeah.
Although I don't really know.
Carney won his Fridays.
I don't really know
the Liberals at this time.
I don't really know like Quebec provincial politics. I'm going to start like covering it after this.
For the very first time.
You're talking about like CAC and stuff.
Yeah, I know like the PQ is doing really well and they're probably going to get elected in the next election.
Okay.
But, you know, because it's very French. But I'm going to start like covering on stream because it's just going to be a good way to like learn French, you know, learn French more. With like how I have it with the, you can put it automatically to like put English subtitles. You know, it's kind of already going to talk. I mean, why not? And just fucking.
I also need to practice my French.
For me, I understand it spoken slowly, especially if it's like if I'm listening to a hockey game. You know what I mean? I understand it.
Yes. Okay.
But like actually, but I listen, and when I watch the UFC, I watch like a French broadcast,
Yes.
and I can't understand a word they're fucking saying because they speak so
Yeah,
fast.
I mean that too, right? And like the way that they speak in comparison to like Quebecois French is like so different. Like,
Yeah, and I could talk about this for hours. There's very like Quebec French is very reductive, where they're just like, no, we like it doesn't want to be English and it doesn't want to be like France French, like
Yes.
Parisian French. So it's just like we'll just either make up another word or say like the thing like something the thing that means a shoe is like the thing like to open a door. You know what I mean? Where it's like what? You know?
yes.
For the lead.
I mean, I'm surprised that I like. So I was actually born in Montreal, but I lived in Vancouver, BC, I should say, for 20 years, and I still kept my French accent, like weirdly enough. So
Yeah,
when
I
I
mean,
speak French, I sound French.
I mean, I can do because I grew up in Sudbury. I can do
Yes,
that. Like
right.
I know. I mean, my grandmother is French. My grandparents are like fully fluent French.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
like grew up. It's weird, and I'm pretty sure it's like a reason why I'm fucking dyslexic is because I grew up with like my French grandparents speaking French around me, and so my
Yes,
brain is like
okay.
trying to figure it out. And that's why like when I come here, I understand what people are saying, but I don't have the skill to speak back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so usually just apologize that I can't speak French in French, and they're just like, "Here's the key to the city." You know?
They're like, come on in, French.
As long as you apologize,
Yeah.
you're welcome.
I need to tell my partner that because he understands everything, but cannot speak it. Poor guy.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's very much like an autistic thing, I think. You know, I always just freeze too. Like I get to.
Yeah.
It's so funny because the classic thing. Well, it hasn't happened to me many times, but the classic thing that like a hardcore Quebecer will do when you say like, "I'm sorry, I don't speak French," in French, they'll just say, "Yes, you do. It's fine." You know, and they just like you keep going, and you're just like, "That's all I know." That happened to me at the driving place.
Oh, that's funny.
Where I said, "Excuse me," and she was just like, "Oh no, it's fine." And I was just like, "No," she was like, "Très bon." I was just like,
That's
"Oh
so
no,
funny. 'Cause
it's
that
over."
also happened to me at the what is it, RAA or whatever.
Yeah,
Exact same thing happened. But, like, I see some stuff in French. That specifically, I don't know the vocabulary of like license and stuff. So it's like trying to explain everything, and I'm like, "Ooh."
yeah, and I had like a girl who was like you know, she was like African, so she spoke like probably like, you know, like Cameroon French, right? So it's like she couldn't speak English, right? So
Oh yeah.
you know what I
Okay,
mean?
fair. Yeah.
So it was just
Yeah.
like fuck.
He's like, oh no, what have I done? Wow, color me surprised.
It's still
All of Alberta's.
NDP's night, but they are no longer ahead of Wetaskiwin, as we predicted earlier. But right now, the Liberals do have two wins in Alberta.
Very NDP
Calgary right now. So we get the Calgary Lake Night, where George Stahal was the incumbent. They're now.
Is
they're
that
not
North
ahead in
Delta?
Edmonton. That is where they had. That was a center. That is blue right now in Edmonton, Strathcona. Is the NDP around? We don't have results from that yet.
Oh,
So
okay,
with the loss
NDP's
of
that,
the
they might
area in particular. the
keep their
Liberals
status. We'll
only have
see.
80 Liberals, right? We got a lot to come. Of the 8 that are reporting, the Liberals have 3 pickups, still not fully in to the Vancouver core and the suburbs there, and that is the Liberal stronghold of British Columbia. So
Well, I want to see gonna be very funny to see fucking JC Kinney
there for them
squirm.
to the delta of 17 that they need, and it might actually include delta, which is the seat they hold on the lower mainland.
Okay, so let me tell you part of the reason why that is there too. Was there a joke there that I missed? What I was supposed
Yeah,
to?
I was talking about deltas and deltas. You know,
okay,
sort of-
sorry. I got a lot of
Ew.
talking to me.
Not him.
There are 47 ridings still where the vote is under 100. So that gives you a sense of why we are still holding off and determining what kind of government this is. But as David rightly points out, it is still possible, and we'll show you more about the in a moment. And just because I have a lot of good colleagues who heard me,
I just don't understand conservative push in BC. I guess it's like a lot of the Toronto voted Liberal, surprising.
It's a lot of people who are pro-cop, pro-developer, anti-fucking unhoused
Immigration.
people, anti-fucking drug user. You know what I mean? It's all cop propaganda. You know what I mean? It's all that's
vile.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing in Toronto. It was a part of the reason why I left, because I could see it's just like, this is all like everything is just like, you know.
Huge reason why I left BC as well. It like, you know, there's hardly any people of color, which is, you know, by design. It's the VPD, which I'm sure like the Toronto police are such B words, and
yeah, it's like every police are kind of different in the way that they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, like I from what I've observed, it seems like the Montreal police are the most just like completely fucking unhinged, just because Montreal.
Sure,
you know what I mean? Because the Montreal, like, you know what I mean? The people of Montreal are just unhinged.
Exactly. Yes.
You know what I mean? They had riot police for the first fucking Habs game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And might be benefiting more.
Wow, nice.
NDP support than the Liberals are, but throughout British Columbia, we said this hours ago. I mean, maybe it was yesterday. I'm not sure. But anyway,
I think I'm gonna go to the like outdoor watch party for the Habs tomorrow.
Oh,
I've never
nice.
been at that.
in British Columbia,
And it's probably like in Toronto, it's like all fenced off. Like you have to pay to get in.
Oh,
You know.
sounds like Toronto.
Yeah. Exactly. Perfect example.
Another part of that story, and that's to look at whether a majority.
But are they on the final game tomorrow?
Well, if they lose, they are.
They're out.
Yeah, it's 3-1, so they have to win to advance, like to play again against them. But here, so if they win against the next game, they have a chance still to win the whole series, because I think that they'll win at home in
Is
games.
it a 2-game lead that determines the winner?
It's best 4 out of 7.
4 out of 7. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at some of them. Let's start with Kitchener Center. You are not seeing green on the map.
Uh-oh.
On the bar at the bottom, he's failing by 30. Just 3 out of 213 supporting that Spraith and Rosie's been talking about. Let's look at another one. Hamilton Center again.
I fucking hate Matthew Green.
I'm just
I
55.
fucking hate that man. He is a piece of shit. I would be stoked if he lost to
That is
the a terrible person. You know, what's her name? I don't know how to say her name properly. Gaza. She's like a Palestinian woman activist out of Toronto.
Oh, yeah.
He's like called her out numerous times, like by just like because of her presence, and him like preemptively calling her out because he knows she's gonna call him out, and it's just like, you are such a scumbag, dude.
That's so petty, too. Like, dude, what the heck?
Like, I remember this in the video that I saw, the exchange was happening, and people were like, why don't you go to Gaza to her? You know what I mean? And he didn't say it. He was just standing there. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Like,
Yeah, like, is it not connecting what they're saying to her? Like,
and he's done that. He's done that. This is amazing.
Like we were back in January.
This is incredible.
And whether they can hold the Liberals to a minority.
Are they in Ottawa?
Celebrate for them, but we are waiting to see more. I should also
Yeah, they gotta be.
waiting for results to come in from Pierre. They've started to come in.
He's not gonna talk. That's what's gonna happen. He's gonna do a Hillary.
There.
Melon only won her seat. That makes me or I guess she's ahead in her writing, and that makes me very mad.
But there was some concern expressed.
Oh my God, yes.
A protest movement to try and protest.
Keep going. Keep going.
Oh my God, yes. He's gone.
It's not much.
Bruce, man.
Oh, David's got a long ballot.
Bruce Banjoy.
Bruce Lovejoy.
Arts and craft of power and politics. This is the ballot you're dealing with in Carleton, right? This is what the longest ballot. This is what 91 names look like.
Was it Lovejoy? Was I having it just like for a moment?
We're in Lovejoy's the one that she's the one that goes, "Won't somebody think of the children?" Right? That's
Oh,
her.
Fanjoy.
Oh, Fanjoy.
See, that's not dyslexia.
So you got to get this. You got to write
And
it
my
down.
brain went
You
straight
gotta
to the
submit it to
Sims.
us as opposed to a ballot box. And there were 43,000.
I guess so did mine.
Yep.
Right. So
Oh,
this is
goodbye,
why they got that
Steve.
special dispensation to go early. So what,
I think that's like the running show between my brothers and I. That, The Sopranos, I think Deadwood.
Okay, well, when we do a podcast together, that'll be good because those are also my like two core, like formidable television shows: Sopranos and The Simpsons.
That's so challenging.
Have you seen Deadwood?
No, I know like about it. I know the memes, but I haven't watched it. I'm very much not like I can't handle fiction.
The direction this is going to
Like
take.
my
That is
brain
fair.
can't handle fiction. The reason I can handle Sopranos is because it's like it's based in reality. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
I mean, I would say Deadwood is the same too because it's like the frontiers.
actually, you know what? I would probably love that show because of if it is like that, yeah. I'd
It's
probably
like The
love that show.
Sopranos,
Yeah.
but like
Well,
frontiers.
have you ever seen Boardwalk Empire?
I haven't.
Oh, you should watch that. That's a fucking
I
incredible
know. My
show.
brother's been trying to get me to watch it for years.
It's very,
Yeah,
very
that's what you
watchable.
should.
It's very
Yeah.
watchable because it's like you can watch it very passively because like the setting and the scene and everything and
Got
like
it.
everyone's beautiful, but you don't need to pay attention. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it has a lot of like music and stuff, but like it's so like digestible. Like numerous times I've just like stayed up watching it till like 5 in the morning
Yeah.
just because it's like the way that they end the episodes, you know, to like lead it into the next one where they just like get you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But and it has like a lot of the core characters, a lot of the core people from Sopranos are in. They play like weird side roles. Like Junior plays he's like a senator, and he has this crazy like down beard, like because he looks like it's like 1920, you know. So he has this like he looks like Gandalf kind of. It's fucked.
Perfect.
The other question is, he's got such a lock on the
Independent
base of the
one.
party.
I'm
You
curious.
really did
Who's
want him,
this
the caucus
one
decides.
independent?
If caucus might turf him, I mean,
Yeah,
the base might vote him back in.
In terms of the base of the party,
No, they're gonna turf him so fucking hard.
it's constant.
And if he loses a seat, it's not gonna matter. Well, I mean, it will matter, but still.
Yeah, let's talk about it after. I do want to spend time.
Do you think Jagmeet's gonna step down from the NDP?
Yeah, and I think unfortunately what's gonna
A
happen
little bit about what is going on.
is going to be what's his name? Wob Canoe, which is going to be so bad. Because he's not like he's just another Jagmeet except indigenous. You know what I mean? Like he's not like
I've been following a lot of his stuff, and I'm like,
he's just like an identitarian type person. You know, he's pro NATO, he's pro fucking Zionist. Like I wouldn't say he's
I
a Zionist,
know.
but he's pro Israel. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure if someone's come and pointed it out to him, he's responded by saying like it's he has to you have to condemn Hamas. Oh, this fucking goof. Did he win?
For Parks Canada as well as Canadian culture and identity. Mr. Goodboe, congratulations on your party's win.
Oh, boo.
Right now, for riding is still supposed to.
Yeah, so I think things are looking very well.
Oh, the Liberals won, but he didn't win. That's good.
Very early. We're very grateful that Canadians have decided to give us another mandate.
I know the girl running against him in the NDP,
Canadians.
Eve something, she's decent, although she has some. Oh, fucking Oberman over meeting house father in the fucking Zionist goof off.
Oh no, that's my writing. No, it just passed, but it was Anagini.
Okay, yeah. That
I already knew
freak.
she was gonna. Yeah, I know, right? I already knew she was gonna win.
Our very identity. I think I've really mobilized Canadians.
What can you do, eh?
Mr. Carney, someone who has experience on the world stage, someone who has experience with the economy, with finance, who has managed crisis versus Diapayev, who's never done anything else than work on Parliament Hill in Ottawa. And they felt he was the right person for what's coming ahead.
Consorting on the vote in Quebec City. They just nothing.
That's you, Catherine.
And Rosie, worth noting, even both riding, it was Gilles Ducep's riding. It's gone block in the past. It went NDP. Even in 2015, Ellen Leverdier kept that riding.
That's right.
Right now, though, Stephen Guilbeault, about 46% of the vote, still early numbers.
Okay. And you can see there at the bottom of your screen, we have still not made a call about what kind of government Mark Carney will be leading as the Prime Minister. 162 seats leading and elected for the Liberals, 138 for the Conservatives, 24 for the
Oh,
Bloc.
172, so they need 10 more.
I think they're just leading, but will be leading and elected for the NDP. You need 12 to form official party status. The Greens, oh, look, they just popped up. It seems like every time I mention them, they just appear.
Really don't want them to win majority,
the
but
numbers
No, that would be bad. I hope that. I don't think it's gonna happen though,
Yeah.
because these are leading. You know, if they're not all called, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're going to have to work with another party. What we're seeing tonight is really the story of what this election has been. Largely a two-party race and the collapse of the Bloc and the NDP's vote right now. I want to talk maybe a little bit about...
yeah, that's what happens when you call an election early. Like, what do you think's gonna happen?
The Liberals are at 44.7%.
Like, whoa, the number. I haven't seen him like this in a long time.
These numbers are so big, right? They're so big compared to what you would normally see in an election. 2015, for instance, Justin Trudeau won his majority. 39.47% of the population votes. That is, I guess, just because we're in this two-party race.
Boo earns Alberta.
You should also wait to have the full score.
Yes, of course.
What you're getting is a lot of those Alberta conservative votes that are kind of
Pushing theirs up.
raising the numbers for the conservatives. But having said that, yes, it is both numbers are way too high for the kind, and that's why when you look at the seats and the possibility,
CTV declares Liberal minority.
it's really hard to have a minority.
All right.
If you do not have a strong,
I won all my bets if that's the case.
and at this point, yes, the we can look.
It's kind of shocking that I didn't. I actually lost some money betting on fucking Kamala. So this gets me back. The only one that I won is that I bet on Trump to win Michigan because I was like, she's gonna lose Michigan because of like, the Muslim vote,
Yeah.
and that was the only bet that I won that night.
I mean, that's a good. I would have taken that bet too. Honestly,
Yeah, I mean it was.
we actually have some friends in Michigan, and yeah, they were feeling the heat with that one.
I don't really believe there are loads of New Democrat votes hidden in those uncounted votes.
We might get to...
Who could have saw this coming?
Does it concern anyone that
Oh,
there's
depressed.
like less representation of
glasses
the
off.
parties
It's time
inside
to
the
get
House of
things.
Commons in terms of what that means for democracy?
I don't think it's a good thing or bad thing on its own. I mean, I think the issue of how represented is the popular vote in that regard.
How early did they call the election? When was it projected for?
The elector is going to decide.
What do you mean?
They want to have a multiplicity party.
Because when Carney got voted in for the Libs, right, he then called an election. Was he calling it early?
Yeah, he didn't even let
NDP
like the what's it called back. Like he didn't the legislature didn't reassemble. You know, because they had to call a you know, like a, I forget what it's called, procured parliament, procured parliament. I can't talk, but so they had to give like a fucking, you know, like a 6-week break for them to find a new leader. And then like the Sunday before, like the next day, Parliament would have reassembled. He called an election.
You must not assume that a victory for the Liberals tonight is necessarily a liberal reign for all time.
No.
At some point, the seas of change will come back, and the
NDP's away from not losing their
Should be
status.
looking for is not just, will they get over the majority? Will BC put them over the top? But also, how will the Liberals do in Western Canada? One of the things people have been very
Those
worried
numbers
about,
are getting close, hey?
will another Liberal victory cause Westerners, and some Westerners anyway, to give up on Canada? I should note that the numbers coming in BC and Alberta
Did you
are pretty close to what
did you watch the documentary that Louis Theroux released?
No, I
Yeah.
haven't yet. I mean, I've seen a lot of that footage and like,
Yes.
different stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's been over years that he's like put that
Yes.
together.
Yeah, I watched it twice today, and was it grim?
So on that is something that the Liberals were quite concerned about, which is why Mr. Carney spent the last day going to Saskatchewan, going to
Oh yeah,
to make that case.
back in 208, let's have another election. Oh
I
man.
think it's not a thing about democracy if there are no parties, smaller parties in the House. I think it's just if the balance of power is the Bloc Québécois, is an opening for the Conservatives to say that it's an illegitimate coalition, much like they did in 2008, which basically means that we will have another election.
It's not a coalition.
possibly.
It's just
I fucking called it.
Right.
Isn't about to
Wow.
confidence agreement with
course not. They will do issue by issue as they always have, as they have always communicated. But that will not stop the Conservative Party from framing it in that way. And I think it will make it very
Oh, that's so annoying.
because I don't see.
But you know what's going to happen? You're not going to say it, but that's what's going to happen. Because if the bloc has that type of balance of power hold, you know what will happen? A fucking referendum. That is what will happen. Because it'll be like, you give us what
Voting
you
referendum?
for fucking Quebec to separate of some sort for some type of declaration of independence. You know, which will probably happen.
Not again.
It will probably happen. It'll just be like
You know,
a tampered down.
last time we had that vote, my parents were here in Montreal and they voted.
Yeah.
They did not want. They voted no, and it was very close margins, if I'm not mistaken.
But yeah, I mean,
Like
it was
49
famously
and
this
51 or
close,
whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I remember
it's
watching it as a
interesting
kid.
that it's
My-
like
Yeah.
happening again.
I mean, I
But
think it is
for
going.
me as an adult.
I think it is going to happen, but it's going to be in the context of, like with Trump and like with, you know what I mean, like a new type of like economic Quebec nationalism, and I think like the PQ is going to like really bring that with just like a fucking absurd like, like almost like right wing social democracy is what they have. You know what I
It's
mean?
very scary to think about, but yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Although it would open the door for like a, for like a hardcore like radical left in Quebec.
Yeah.
You know.
And I mean, it's here. It's definitely here.
Yeah, and like especially if, there was like if like separation resurfaced in the, the public discourse,
Yeah.
there would be like legitimate radicals. You know what I mean? Who would have a certain
Oh,
type of
yeah.
a certain type of Quebec nationalism that could be like useful. You know, like fucking like Cuba or like the Catalans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
or even like Mexico.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
That isn't exclusionary.
Yeah.
Like it's like the type of thing
Yeah.
where it's like we are like like there could be like cultural hierarchy, but not that it reflects on the society. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like where it's just like, yeah, the way that it is like in the rest of Canada, where it's just like, if you know anything, you know that like Quebec, like, Montreal is the most beautiful place in all of like all the major cities, right? You just understand that it's just like there's, like of all the major cities, there's just like an elegance of both Montreal and Quebec City.
Yes.
And so, and using that to have like a type of like, exceptionalist nationalism, regionalism, that's just about like the exceptionalism, but not about like, like if you're not this, you can't be here,
Yeah, which happening a lot right now. I saw that there were those far right protests in Dublin. My friend and I were talking about it,
disrupted this entire election in the U.S.
and it just seems like popping up everywhere.
Yeah, but I would
This
say,
reason.
significant like that especially in Ireland. I mean, in Ireland, like there's significantly like they're a minority.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
they're a loud minority, you know. And what they do is they go to those. They use the same type of tactics as convoy. They use the type of tactics to make them look like they're way bigger than they
Oh,
are.
100%.
You know,
Yeah.
like also another aspect of it too is that a lot of those people are like loyalists that are from like Northern Ireland who come to Dublin to, you know what I mean? Who are like you know, like almost like settlers essentially, right? Like
And align with like the British rule there.
yeah, but wave a Ireland flag. You know what I mean? Wave the tricolor.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like what's his Conor McGregor.
Exactly.
That guy.
Exactly. But what's fucking crazy is that Connor, like, when he first came out, when he first started,
Yeah.
he wasn't like that at all. He was like a working class left of center guy who's like, he was friends with fucking Sinead O'Connor. You know what I mean?
I know.
Although, like, before she died, she called him out on Twitter and was just like, you bloody twat.
Rest her soul.
Yeah. I'm going to enjoy it if...
Oh, me too.
So I'm deeply grateful for the results.
And I bet you that there will be like maybe not like an insurrection attempt, but like another type of protest on Ottawa.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
I do not doubt that. I mean, if we learned anything from COVID, is that COVID itself really deteriorated people's mental health, and we're seeing the after effects like tenfold now.
Yeah, and it's so funny how like the right-wingers end up are like the most fragile of them all. You know what I mean? Like they're like the most. They're like you know that episode of Sopranos where it's the fucking Columbus Day? You know what I mean? Every single one of them gets like offended because of their identity. That's what they are. That's what they are. You know what I mean? Like they're offended.
100%.
They're offended that you're like they're offended that you don't agree with what they say. Where it's just like, bro, are you a child? You know what I mean? Like, are you a toddler? It's so funny.
That show is so good. I need to rewatch it again.
Yeah, the problem about it is there's a lot of like glorified violence against women and like glorified just like drug use. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the whole storyline between Chris and what's her name? His girlfriend, like
a bit of a bellwether. Paul said a little when by-election, big surprise when Dawn Stewart won just a very small margin, but as we're seeing from those results, very dramatic difference tonight, and certainly when she came downstairs.
Is this like only relevance that they have in their party? I guess, yeah. I'm answering my own question. That they like the only leg that they have to stand on is we can go against Trump and the tariffs. People are like, yeah, do that.
Seats that they're not leading in, conservatives are up 9. That is not what they were.
Look how close that is, though, actually. 145, 158. I mean, it's already been called, so I don't think it's going to... You know what I mean? I don't think they're not going to be wrong.
Yeah.
But I bet you it'll be so close that they're going to fucking lose their minds and say that it was... Simply because they don't understand the way that the fucking
how the system works.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
If it is this close, actually, the cons might win the popular vote. Actually,
Brand new writing.
No, I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm gonna look.
And yet, with only 43 polls reporting.
Yeah, they're winning right now, but they're up in the popular vote right now, 33 to 32%, which is what it always is. I did I think like before I ever even knew you, maybe like right as I started talking to you, but I did like a super long, like 8-hour fucking video about like how they managed to do that, like how they managed to always get 33, 32, and how they do it by that thing where they externalize the opposition to make people feel that they need to go. You know what I mean? And they re-up that tactic by having Trump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was very easy to see that it was like, you know, because in France they did the exact same thing. That's what Macron did. He fucking externalized Le Pen to make it so that the left had no other choice but to fucking vote. You know what I mean? And then
100%.
it happened in Brazil, but in Brazil in a good way with Lula.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yes, you're right.
Right? Or like, and the only reason that happens is because Brazil has a good electoral system.
30 election to 48.3%. And so it's
Where's that?
So that is it's a suburb in BC. It's like, let me pull up. It's part of the farmland, so it's just a lot of white people there.
What's the riding that attack happened in?
Is it? It's not. I don't think it's this. Is it Vancouver Kingsway? Potential. Oh, I think it's this one actually. Richmond Center Marple. No, actually, I'm wrong again. I
They probably
think
say.
And the Conservatives right now.
is it Kendrington?
I'm sure they're gonna point it out.
Moments in British.
Close some of those races are live. The numbers at the bottom of your screen are moving back and forth so dramatically. And indeed, why we have yet to be able to call the kind of government Canadians have elected here right now. The Liberals leading are elected in 156. Remember, it's 170. Conservatives ticking up to
Vancouver South.
Vancouver South. Okay, yeah, that was my riding for many years.
So you lived in the riding that happened in?
government. Canada will end up.
It's crazy. I lived in the riding that huge shooting happened. I wasn't there. I was at my parents' camp.
Oh, geez. Hello. Is it a close election? Yes. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. But the Liberals are gonna win. It's very fucking close. Look at this.
I was not expecting to.
No, that's what it is. CTV already called it. CTV already
Oh,
called it.
LaSalle. Let's see. Oh, Block didn't get their seat. Interesting. Oh, I'm sad Craig didn't do better. I really like him.
He did better
Craig
last
Sauvé.
time when what's her name? They got Palestina out in by election.
Lou's not gonna win. They already called it. A point.
Will not be winning the day.
I mean, I will say that there is still a slight chance that the Conservatives can win. But this is the thing, right? This is what I said. Even if they won most seats, it would not matter because they wouldn't be able to form government because everyone else has more seats than them, right? They would just form a coalition around them, which is exactly what I said would happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
and
and
I
then
mean,
for sure,
done it before.
then for sure there would be a fucking riot in Ottawa, like because people don't understand like the way coalitions work. You know what I mean? So people just lose their mind. Like if the Conservatives won most seats but then still weren't in power, because the way that would work is Pierre wouldn't be prime minister. You know?
Yeah.
Because you have to like.
But he was also very ambitious and very.
I mean, I actually don't know how that works, as it hasn't happened in federal politics.
Showing that optimism that we can maybe take seats on Vancouver Island. A lot remains to be determined. That optimism is telling, and I think that started to become a bit infectious. And as you saw, as the campaign went happened, the advertising, for example, he was front and center on almost everything. And then you saw Pierre Poilievre conversely sort of being resilient and sometimes being replaced by Stephen Harper, which is a bit antithetical to that change narrative. You're talking about a guy who was the prime minister 10 years ago. So I think that
that riding is hard liberal. There is a Marxist-Leninist candidate there, though.
Oh, is there?
Wait! Oh my God! Give me a break. Yo, this is fucking hilarious.
I mean, I think you're right to point out that issue.
What is his current position? The thing that happened.
He's a politician.
Sorry. The riding that happened in
very much a political animal.
Yes.
The MP for that riding is the Minister of Emergency Preparedness. Isn't that interesting?
I hate it. I hate it. Thank you. I hate it.
Rally.
And he was named the Minister of Emergency Preparedness because fucking Bill Blair was it before, right? And so like these Minister of Emergency Preparedness, Minister of Public Safety, it's all just psyops in psyops that can be used for politics. You know, like the entire convoy was that. You know,
So many conservatives,
and what's his name? Yeah, this guy Sajin. So when Carney named the new ministers, which was in March, so like literally 6 weeks ago, he named this guy the Minister of Emergency Preparedness. Prior to that, he was the minister responsible for Pacific Economic Development Agency of Canada, and then he got moved to the Minister of Emergency Preparedness like 6 weeks ago. Isn't that interesting?
You look at the province that take away those 9 games, and we are a very different person tonight because we're still waiting to figure it out.
I was just sent like a picture of Montreal is like writing, and it's like all red, and you just see this tiny little orange, and it's a rose photos in NDP. That's so true.
The Quebec results for the Bloc would not be as bad as they are. Yeah. And the Liberals would not be sitting with not a very big lead on the Conservative.
Yeah, no, not a very big lead at all. We'll see where that goes. But if you see that kind of tight, if we're heading toward minority and is that tight, my gosh, that's not a very stable con for anybody. David, you got some stuff you want to talk about?
The political science term for that is a parliament from hell. Right now, the stories in Ontario, folks. I mean, look, the Liberals have been projected in those seats tonight, but they are down in Ontario, not just below where we thought they needed to be, but they're just flat out down. And like, let's go through some of the regions here. The NDP vote is nowhere in Ontario, but a lot of it's going conservative. So we've seen the Conservatives move
in Toronto
region here and like gaining seats in the York region. But what's also interesting is if you go to southwestern Ontario,
156, 150.
London Fanshawe is blue. I believe Kitchener Centre, the Green Party seat, that is blue right now. And I bet you if we go into the Hamilton area, we're going to see some of that there as well. There's no orange in Hamilton, but in Hamilton there's a conservative. Conventional wisdom this election has been that the NDP vote collapse would just all huddle around Mark Carney as a new progressive party avatar. But what you're seeing is a lot of those orange votes seem to have gone blue, or at least the orange ridings are going blue because the dynamics for red and orange pretty strong seconds and third. And you know what? Doug Ford will this dynamic to a majority in Ontario because you had Bonnie Crombie and Merrick Stiles on a competitive second and third place in vote share. And we're seeing this sort of playing out in Canada's biggest province.
What's that, Nichols? That's where I'm from. That red spot. Well, I'm actually from the blue spot outside. Actually, no, I'm probably wrong. The red spot is probably Sudbury, like Sudbury Center. Blue spot around it is Nickel Belt.
And look at get close to a tie, Rosie.
Okay, Althea, you went in there, and then Andrew, and then I'm going to get some more results.
Two things. Yeah. One, I don't think we actually know enough at this moment because we don't know what the advance are, and there was just a huge turnout from Liberals. So I don't know, but a lot of the ridings that Mark Carney went to in the last week, like Newmarket, Aurora, King Vaughan, those are all blue at the moment.
I don't like what's happening.
Crime, and the Liberals really did not speak to a lot of people's anxieties on that. The other thing that you see in Edmonton Centre, in Windsor West, in London, is that the Liberals decided to go after basically NDP incumbents to get to their majority, and the Progressives did not know who to vote for at the beginning of the show. And so these are not naturally conservative seats at all. The NDP have split the vote, and the Conservative is coming in.
Yes.
These are remarkable numbers at this point. Now, I know a lot can change. I know we've got the advanced poll. I know probably more urban votes to come in. But
Getting nervous for the NDP. Still haven't hit 12 yet.
In the end, I guess, like again, it would literally be a good thing.
I mean, I hope they take it that way. Like, I tell you, Elizabeth May won her riding in Sanet on the island. No.
She's gonna retire though after this.
God, she needs to. Please, also, don't mind my Coca-Cola. I'm sorry.
If he said really hairy with Trump, the electorate will be in an unforgiving mood for anybody who's seen to be just playing politics as usual. I think we've seen that the electorate has adjusted their metrics as to how they look at people when they're really scared about things.
Maybe. Quickly.
Yeah, it's you, idiot. Shut up, Andrew. You don't know.
When they're scared about things.
Right. So on the point about the advanced.
Wow, it's like we're always scared about things by design.
The conversation with respect to crime has absolutely happened by Mark Carney, by the platform he put out. It talks about things like gun control, talks about things like investments in officers. What it doesn't talk about is suspending charter rights and invoking a notwithstanding clause. I think that's a mature approach, a professional approach, and one that is required from somebody who aspires to the highest office.
Okay. Take a look at the bottom of your screen. That's what's got us all worked up here because things are moving around very quickly.
So on this one Russian website that I bet on, you can
just below official party status. But
you can bet on if there's going to be Quebec separation referendum. I don't know when the year is. It's by 2031, and the odds, the yes odds, are 22%.
22%.
Yeah, which aren't zero.
Yeah, I mean, 22 is pretty high.
The crowd erupted, and I'm here with Alexander Buller.
I'm so proud that I think the people of Oswona will continue to talk for them and to fight for them and get results.
So it is going to be a liberal government. What are your feelings about that?
At least it's not a conservative.
At least it's not a conservative government.
That's it. That's it.
I love it. At least it's not a conservative.
In Ottawa. It's not going to be easy, but I don't know what will be the end of the of this evening.
It's quite.
For Canadians to know now that you are going back.
Oh, I've seen this guy at the encampment. I've talked to him before.
Which one?
The interviewer.
Oh, so is this in Montreal?
Yeah, it's up at Petit, so a little bit further north than where we are.
So I think this is the riding where what's his name is in Sauve?
I'm not sure actually.
There's a dude with a fucking keffiyeh at this guy's party.
I don't know how that works with liberals, but okay.
Thank you very much. And back to you, Catherine.
Thank you very much.
I don't like that guy.
And I will note, Rosemary, I believe as of right now, Mr. Boulouris is the only actually projected elected NDP candidate in the country. There are obviously a number
Wow.
of races meeting. That's on the decision desk said is no.
Okay. So again, at the bottom of your screen, there
Viewers.
are those numbers keep bouncing around.
I always hate it because it ends up being like a
So
bot view,
where-
Yeah.
but they have to like come into my chat
that's
and then I
what's
have
gonna
to
happen.
turn it.
I'll show you, cheap viewers.
As David was pointing out, some of the numbers in Ontario may shift a bit still, with advanced polls being counted.
You should see the fucking bots that I get. I get like emails that like they scan my site and they're just like, oh, I see this. Like it would be really good if you did this. And it's just like trying to like backdoor a crypto thing, you know? And it's clearly just like a bot that's just like, you know, just using like basic AI to like scan the site and then send like an email that sounds personable. I get so much of that.
Mostly an illustration. I believe the end result will be a lot tighter than what I'm seeing. But it gives you an idea of how long we might be here before we have some final sense of what's happening.
She's like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
It seems
Go
to be
back
a
to-
bit slower than usual.
It might be.
In many regions of the country. Carleton is a special case because it's got 91 candidates on the ballot.
But you know, we don't know what the turnout.
I listened to her podcast, although she, so it's very, very annoying. This isn't what they're willing to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's always good to, even if you don't like agree or align with someone, to know the enemy.
They always do. You know what I mean? That's what they like. That's
Oh, Saskatchewan. What the?
Saskatchewan for the Liberals is
What a
significant.
W.
We've done this since 2015, and see, we're talking about the Churchill River.
That's funny because like the leading guy had like double the amount of
yeah.
votes
He's
that-
not coming back. It's over. He is done. Pack it up, bud.
Yeah, but
Uh-oh.
so embarrassing.
I mean,
Andrew Scheer.
Andrew Scheer is the person who made me vote Freeland. That's the reason I vote.
I
voted.
understand. I understand.
That is the person
He
who made me
is
vote
just-
Freeland.
Progressive parties.
Yeah, he is
Disgusting.
horrendous. He is a horrendous person. He's almost
where the CBC's.
He's almost so horrendous that you take him as a fictional character, then you get like you get almost that anti-hero thing. You know what I mean? Where it's like almost endearing, right?
Yeah.
But like if you then realize that like no, this is a real person that exists in reality, then it's like that
They're
break.
fully serious.
Yeah. You know?
But the Liberals gaining that seat in the North is not insignificant. They'll be happy about that. Here in Regina, they were hoping to pick up some steam, maybe Regina Wascana, Ralph Liddell's former seat. That didn't come to pass as of yet. And you showed us Andrew Scheer's result.
8 time.
No surprise there. Andrew Scheer winning for
People on Twitter are like, well, it's going to be tough getting anything done now. It's like, not for Quebec.
24-year-old to win here from us, we believe, momentarily.
State of the NDP in Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
I'm going to love for the next 24 hours because I have so many comments on my YouTube channel of people just being like, wait till Monday, wait to see what happens. I'm going to go through every single one and just,
Lol.
yeah.
Lol. Lol.
It's gonna, because so many people are gonna reply, so it's just gonna increase the engagement on my YouTube channel.
very significant.
Yes,
And the
get
Liberals
it.
picking up a lot of second places across the province, which is a surprise here in Saskatchewan.
All right, Adam Hunter, thank you very much for being a lay of the land in Saskatchewan. Rosemary.
Ian, let me
A whole lot of nothing definitive.
screen there. And that is a whole lot of nothing definitive, basically. 157 leaving
25,
elected
yeah.
for the Liberals, 149 for the Conservatives. The bloc sort of sticking around that number now that most of the counting is done In fact, the NDP at 10 and the Greens at 1, and I believe that Senate should call filings at this stage. So we are waiting to be able to give you a better sense of what kind of government Mark Carney will lead in his new mandate, where he is an elected prime minister, not just one who won.
I didn't see how much was in.
Liberal headquarters, where there was a lot of excitement earlier.
I'm gonna have to go
how much was
back.
there that they would form government, but right now they are waiting to see what exactly that means. And I guess we're on there too. So Ashley,
Oh my god, I hate.
Why does she talk like that?
Oh my god.
A lot of people in the room watching these elections.
I have
Why does she
numerous
talk
videos.
like that?
I have numerous videos making fun of this girl. I got like content.
She moves her mouth so weird.
She talks like this. And I think what it is that she probably did news updates on the radio. And so you have to inflect your voice to sound good. And now she's doing that at the peak of national news. And it just doesn't work. Why are you doing that? You know what I mean? It's like the thing that like black and like Hispanic people do to sound white. And it's like, you are a white woman. What the fuck are you doing? I've had rants that I turned into clips that I put on TikTok that then got like hit for like bullying. But yeah, she's a part of my lore. Like, I cannot stand her. It's like, can you please just speak normally? What are you doing?
It just sounds like so unnatural. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a woman doing,
I would have said no.
like,
With Mark Carney.
like, on Family Guy when it's like the Carl who does the weather.
Yeah.
Like that. She's doing that. She's like a white woman trying to put on a white voice. It doesn't make any sense.
Tight races left. A lot of really tight races in Ontario. We'll see more tight races.
Wait, sir, it's
We still
over.
have to wait through the advanced polls. So let's see what happens. We know we're going to get government. Let's hope that that government is a strong one.
The vote is so divided right now. What does that say to you about
Mr. Carney's gonna have to work as the government.
We
Okay.
need to work as a country, and we need to work as a government. Mr. Carney, Prime Minister Carney, is going to have to work as a government. To bring
Yeah, I mean, it's going to, because he's like the only guy who can like sun
combat that.
Trump and be like, bro, what? What? You know what I mean? If Trudeau did that, it just wouldn't work, you know? Because Trudeau is also the same type of, like, he's similar to Vance, where he's like, he needs acceptance from like a father figure, right? So he always just bows to Trump. But Carney, that will not work. Like, Carney will just be like, bro, what? You know?
Who are you again?
Yeah, because it's just like, I don't care if you are a fucking millionaire. Like, I am a billionaire, you know? Like, I am also a billionaire. You know, that's the only thing that would have worked, is like, we need to also get a billionaire.
Oh my
happening on that board. So
It was
let's
so
go to Alberta, look at some of the cities and see where some of that action is happening. I believe we are going to start here with Edmonton. There you go. Now, this was a rematch, right? Carrie Diot, the previous MP for this riding, Blake Desjardins,
Calgary. Oh.
NDP
Why
won
is she
in the last
surprised?
election. Carrie Diot has won it back. That is projected elected. So that is
PPC. That's so embarrassing. You.
what is happening with the NDP numbers. Let's head over to Calgary. In Calgary,
Calgary
right now,
Confederation? Question mark.
McLean is in second. This is a riding that the Liberals took in 2015, but Greg McLean has had it for some time. So we're going to want to watch the
Why
results
do
there.
the podcast?
Calgary Confederation, Corey Hogan. If you're a political nerd, like some of the people in this room, cough, cough, you might know Corey Hogan from his podcast, The Strategists.
Huh?
Right now, he is in the lead, but he's got quite an opponent in Jeremy.
Calgary, can you
Wilson,
just
for
stop?
politics? And finally, Calgary McKnight, where the Liberal George Schafal
Green went up to
in
2,
second.
and
There's a
NDP dropped
conservative
Carney's won his writing over 10,000.
They're right beside Polyev, too. They are right beside each other.
Yeah, handily won by more than 10,000 votes in the PM.
Why is this picture so
elected to public offer, hold an elected position, and also
It's like when Trump gets elected and it's like a picture of him when he's like 54. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck are you doing? But this fucking guy. Oh, it's only 12 of 266.
1,700.
So it's going to be a long night counting this one.
As we talked about before, advanced polls may indeed
Yeah,
appear there were 91 candidates on that ballot.
Show
But right now, his
me.
own riding.
Oh, Jagmeet did not do well in his riding.
A big lead for him, an easy win in as leader of the bloc.
Yikes.
And this is Burnaby Central. It is early.
Well, that's
Still,
awkward.
The news here is what many in the NDP feared.
I wonder if he's gonna.
God. Oh my
Yeah, it's bad. Third place in your riding?
I mean, again, this is a good thing. Like, you know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Rachel.
Elizabeth May.
Yeah, she's in my.
Sorry, I'm a little ahead of
She's in my riding. She's funny because she never puts her.
Decided to run in
Only now when they call the election, because you probably have to. But in all of her mail stuff, she never puts what party she's associated with, because that's like, you know what I mean? That's like faux pas. You know what I mean? Like that would be, you know what I mean? Like the associated with Trudeau and associated with, you know what I mean? So her brand is just her, and she's got this little like bucktooth fucking like, you know what I mean? Like cute, like weird face. You know what I mean? That it's just like a brand. Like it works.
All right, let's go back to
She also said that the French language is not under threat in Quebec. And it's like, why would you say that? Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Because the Conservatives.
You're a politician. Why would you say that? In Montreal.
Polls left to go.
Do you know where you are?
Yeah, like what the fuck are you saying?
Germain has gone from hundreds of votes back
What?
to
So
almost under
embarrassing.
dozens of votes ahead. He's got a 23 vote lead over Jonathan Rowe right now, with 268 of 270 polls reporting. We've seen some change, for example, in Nova Scotia, where Sean Fraser has moved out to a pretty big lead right now, almost 2,000 votes. But Miramichi, Grand Lake is flipping back and forth in New Brunswick, and this is all on the advanced polls. And that's going to be something we've got to watch in the GTA, for example. Rosie, as I was saying earlier, the Liberals are down about 10 seats in Ontario. There's a lot of advanced votes, they think, still to be counted in a lot of these ridings where they are losing. The vote efficiency you would expect with them being in the 44% or wherever it is in the popular vote is not quite showing up, because they're winning these seats by bigger margins. And a lot of the NDP loss, essentially what's happened is like the Liberal surge in the NDP flaps has elected a lot of Conservatives, or at least
How
has
many of the
more
advanced
competitive at this point in time based on the vote splits.
Huh?
Oh, the part of Quebec that was highlighted as bloc is now flipped to Liberal. Interesting. So I guess that's what they're talking about with the advanced voting.
Yeah, because it's like a certain demographic that votes advanced, you know?
Advanced votes in a single riding there. So there's
Probably more liberal.
Tuesday
They're
night,
older,
look at
like
what's going
older
on
people
now
are
with
more
the
liberal.
restraint. Things have changed dramatically again. Now the Liberals
What the heck time is it?
Conservatives dropping down to 146, the NDP dropping there as well. So that shows you a little bit, again, how fluid things are still at this hour. What the heck time is it? 11:30 Eastern. Polls have all been closed.
Still early, bud.
Eastern, an hour and a half in. Yes, we've said who's going to form government, but because those numbers continue to shift around a lot, because of the way this election has unfolded, really being a race between the two main parties, that is where we're at tonight. Still lots of movement there, and still not able to make a call on what kind of government you will end up with by the end of this night, or who knows, maybe early into tomorrow morning.
Chrystia Freeland.
This was
It's a huge lead.
Yeah, she never fucks up.
Yeah.
She owns. I knew that I know Serena. I know Serena well.
Significant.
I didn't notice that she ran for fucking help.
Now, congratulations.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Oh no.
How are you feeling about where the party is tonight? Yes, you're going to form government again.
So embarrassing.
She is.
What do you make of what is
How many?
a remarkable turnaround?
I think it's a remarkable turnaround, Rosie. You know, I look back.
Huh? What is she talking?
And you know as well as I do that at that point, someone had totally written us off. People were even talking about whether the Liberals would
Kudos? She said kudos?
She is a fake human.
what
Like,
the strength of our government will be. So to me, a remarkable comeback. And
No one can convince me otherwise now. She is both their people.
our Prime Minister, Mark Carney, who showed in his few minister that he is totally up to the job. And he has been a remarkable campaigner. So this is a great night for the Liberal Party. It's a great night for Canadians. What I in my own riding, supporting 27 other candidates in Ontario and places like Saskatchewan, is Canadians recognized that this was a critical moment for our country.
I think I need to smoke about that because I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I remember she spoke on the election night when Trump got elected, and I was just like, oh my God. And she was just like, it's going to be okay. Like, and it was like, you I don't think that we need to get reassurance from the granddaughter of a fucking Nazi that things are going to be okay. When
I forgot about that.
That's who I voted for. Oh yeah. I mean, she's still going. She helped fucking set up the fucking what is it? I don't even know what it is, but Kiev Times, the newspaper that basically helped, essentially helped the war like in Ukraine. Just like a propaganda arm of the war. She helped. It's so crazy. The Canadian government essentially helped set up that media outlet under her.
Sorry, my camera's in.
And what's her name? Jolie.
Ugh, I hate Jolie so much. Hi, kitty. Wait. He's gonna attack you. I have a cat. Do you want to say hi to your friend Alex, kitty?
I'm waiting to get her. Oh, sorry.
So proud to be with you.
I was waiting to get a really bad
Palpable wave of patriotism.
screenshot of her.
To harness that patriotism and use it to unite our country and to build our country. And I know that is what Mark Carney's government is going to do.
Okay, Christian Freeland, thank you for making the time on this busy night for you. Congratulations. We will speak again soon, I'm sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you too.
Okay, thank you. That's Christian Freeland, who has really won her riding today. Tonight, as she is projected elected, Adrienne Arsenault has some more results.
Not such an easy battle in other parts of Ontario.
We've been talking all night about how tight it is. Well, let's just look at some places where it's very tight. Eglinton Lawrence, Vince Gasparo, only leading by 55 with 114 polls reporting. This is happening all over Ontario. Let's look at another riding where it is extremely tight. Brampton, North Caledon. Ruby Sahota, the government whip, again, only leading by 29. There are 6 seats.
Oh, they're going to show a graph. Look at this graph.
The one I find especially interesting is the next one here, which is Windsor, Tecumseh, Lakeshore. Now, it's 325 votes. This was initially thought that it might be a Liberal NDP toss-up, but look at what is happening. And if the numbers don't tell you a story, let's look at this next graph, which shows how tight it has been there all night long. This is the vote share in Windsor, Tecumseh, Lakeshore. Look at that line between the Liberals and the Conservatives. This is the story that is playing out in many, many ridings across Ontario, potentially across country. That is why the number keeps bouncing.
Race to the center.
At the bottom. Okay. Yeah, it sure does. It's moving around an awful lot, but right now tracking a little more heavily for the Liberals. Remember, majority government, 160.
Well, that's the thing, is that
Right now,
the cons aren't the center. They stuck themselves where they were. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So they will race back to the center with like fucking Doug Ford or Jean Charest or someone who is like a liberal but is a conservative. You know?
Doug Ford is such a weird creature.
Yeah,
in my brain.
He's like Canada Nixon.
Holy shit.
There's this really good book about Rob Ford called Crazy Town. That's like it really talks.
I've heard of this.
It really talks about like Doug Ford's position and like how he just formed his position as a
to their seats, and he is trailing in 4 of the ridings that they hold.
In like made himself look progressive because he was Doug's brother and Doug was a crackhead. You know what I mean? So it's like
literally,
you know, and it's like that, like, oh, we all make mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not perfect. You know, like that's his thing, and it works. You know what I mean? It spawned Trump. Like that kind of thing spawned Trump. It was before Trump. You know what I mean? And Doug just knows how to perfect it by being so center that You know what I mean? That he doesn't,
Mhm.
he uses the persona to make it seem, because he's Rob's brother, that he's somewhat liberal, because it's just like, oh, people make mistakes. You know what I mean? But it's just like a
Another
fucking,
instance of kayfabe.
yeah, exactly. And he's like a Reaganite conservative, but like puts
Yeah.
on the show only because of his brother. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And manages to like live off the legacy of his brother, but in the
Yep.
contrast of it. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
very
100%.
fascinating.
where the NDP support has plummeted.
Agreed.
And Tamara Cronus is a
North
lawyer.
Island. Oh, Powell River. Okay, that makes
You might
sense.
find it bartending at the Legion, sport shooting, or playing bridge. So a lawyer was a bit of a twist. That's kind of interesting. And yeah, huge lead going on in Nanaimo. Ladysmith. Let's look at North Island, Powell River. This is a riding.
Oh,
that I think
no.
some conservatives
This fucking goof.
I know, right? Ugh.
This is a riding that so far the NDP candidate, who is not the incumbent, has
Oh
managed
wow, they
to
have
more or less
dropped
compare
so
the
bad.
NDP had it last time around, but still conservatives in the lead by just over 500 votes.
Okay.
NDP is down in
Show a couple of
single
words
region of
myself
the
now.
country. She
Just
just
like a
said
little
that's
bit
why
more of the story we're seeing tonight. This is sort of what we call a party
liberals
summer
are up
report. How they're
everywhere.
doing, right across the country at this stage in the evening.
Literally
You can see
everywhere.
the vote share of 5.5% overall. But look at those numbers on the right, on the far right of your screen. Those numbers down. The NDP is down in every region of the country. And let me show you where some of that has gone by showing you this next board. This is the Liberal Party overall, 2.6%. But look at that. Look at what has happened to them on the right of your screen. Up in every single region of the country. And that explains a little bit where we are tonight. That collapse of the NDP, yes, has supported everyone.
Yeah, he's gotta go, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I should say.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a reckoning.
Let's go to David Cox.
A reckoning.
Rosie, I mean, the NDP are down by double-digit percentage. Could go down by double-digit
Hell
percentage.
yeah.
It's the only spot where they're not the ones where they were in the single digits to begin with.
Get it.
The party status was a difficult one for the NDP coming into Jagmeet Singh's third national election. They need 12
Go to
seats to
Toronto.
get there.
All red.
It's going to be tough. They have nothing in Atlantic Canada. We know that. They
No
only have
orange
one
anywhere.
seat in the island of Montreal. Alexandre Boularice was re-elected in the Rosemont-La Petite-Patrie riding. That's one. He's the Eastern Canadian flank. We do have them leading in Nunavut, but I don't believe they're elected yet in Nunavut. But let's look at Ontario. Let's look at Greater Toronto Area. Olivia Chow is the mayor of Toronto. There is not a single speck of orange anywhere to see in the GTA.
Yeah, because she's a fucking liberal, bud.
To southwestern Ontario, northern Ontario. If that was Charlie Angus's seat right now, that is blue on our map. You go into southwestern Ontario, there was an NDP seat in Windsor. Right now it is blue. There was one in London. Right now it is blue. You go further east into Hamilton, there was an NDP seat. Right now it is blue. Their vote collapsed while the Liberals have gone up. The vote inefficiency has.
I have to stand up for like.
Conservatives. This is the consequence of strategic voting. People hurrying to the Liberals stop the NDP from stopping Conservatives in seats where if their vote had held, they might have won. Either way, they have two seats, basically in the north and all of eastern Canada.
Edmonton, Strathcona has
You go into
NDP.
Winnipeg. This was another place where they had three seats coming into this. Right
No.
now, Leah Gazang is the last New Democrat standing in Manitoba. She has been elected, I'm told, in Manitoba. In
Oh, wow.
Saskatchewan, they are nowhere at this point in time. You go into Alberta, you go to Edmonton. We already reported earlier, Blake Desjardins had lost his riding of Edmonton-Griesbach. Heather McPherson is leading right now in Edmonton-Strathcona. So that means, really, obviously,
The
no growth
Narnia of
no
Canadian
growth potential here.
politics.
It all comes down to British Columbia. This is where the core of the NDP caucus was. They had 13 seats in the last parliament from British Columbia. Ian talked about what's happening on Vancouver Island. Well, you know, this is going to be tight. It's already one of the orange seats is flipped blue as the counting goes back and forth. You know, I have described Vancouver Island as the Narnia of Canadian politics. You got green, red, blue, and orange. Nowhere else in the country does that happen, but it's playing out here on Vancouver Island. But you have Liberals in Victoria leading right now for the first time since David Anderson was a member of Parliament in the Chrétien years. But look, this is where it really comes down to right now, is the Lower Mainland. In Greater Vancouver, there were 5 NDP seats in Vancouver, including the leader, Jagmeet Singh. He's trailing right now. The others are close. Don Davies in Vancouver Kingsway. The last update I had on that was less than 300 votes.
So these are the areas where the NDP needs to come back, Rosie, if it doesn't went to the 12 seats, but the arse is out of their vote. It's up to Vancouver to put it back in there. And I don't know if they have enough time and enough ground game to get it done at this stage of the night.
Okay. Thank you for that, David. We can, though, elect another leader. Let's show you that. Elizabeth May has won her riding of Saanich Gulf Islands with a significant lead, more than 2,500 votes. She was first elected in 2011. She continues to be the co-leader of the party. Her other co-leader lost in his riding in Outremont, so we'll see what that means for the future of that party. But right now, only one seat, and it's hers, in British Columbia. She has always been an effective parliamentarian, but obviously difficult when growth continues to elude that party, particularly in an election like this. Chantal Hébert, what do you think?
I think this is what it looks like when you have a two-party system.
Yeah.
And the nights get long because it's a one-on-one battle.
Yeah.
And there are so many contradictions. I keep going back to the riding of Carleton.
Yes.
Mr. Poilievre's riding, which after 40 polls now, he is still lagging well behind. I'm not saying he's going to lose, but you would think they've done well in Ontario. And yet, in tail driver, this is happening. But the night we're having now is a direct product of the fact that we had a binary campaign. And the reason why we're all a bit trying to find our footing is because we've never done an election, right?
That's right.
That was like this one.
Yeah.
Where none of the usual assumptions allow us to know how this is going to end. Yes, we know it's going to end with the Liberal government. Yes. I also believe the advanced poll thing. And the lack of a protocol forces us to not
for Carl to begin counting advance votes 6 hours before because they were so long. Again, it is the choice of the returning officer, so that's what they get to decide. I guess the issue is, should they be able to decide that way? I will remember an election. Now I'm really dating myself, where Jean Charest was going to win in Sherbrooke, and it looked like he was about to lose.
They declared him lost.
That's right.
Half an hour was lost on burying Mr. Charest. Subsequently,
He won. And I was in Sherbrooke, and they kept saying to me, don't do it, don't do it. The boxes aren't open. And that is exactly what happened. The advanced ballots got opened, and he clinched his right.
So you know why I'm obsessing over advance?
I do.
Votes, the advance votes will all be liberal. So Pierre's gonna get he's gonna lose.
Yeah.
We have not had a lot.
Like if the cons are hoping on advance votes, turning, you know what I mean?
Not
like,
gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we did.
Right wingers don't advance vote. They don't do that.
Certainly hoping that there won't be anybody jumping on this advance thing where if it comes in a wave at the end and the Liberals improve their seat count. I hope
It's just, this is Andrew Cope right now.
Yeah.
Well, you can use a pen, but they do have special paper, so even if you use pencil, it doesn't get erased. Just so people fact check that. But if you have 7.3 million votes in advanced polls, like something's going to happen. Either it's happened or it's going to happen, because that's a lot of people who voted.
That's
a record number. Yeah.
So as I say, for some people, that's going to feed some conspiracy theories.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Even though I absolutely agree on the advanced polls, and we don't know where it's going, but the trickle that you normally see in ridings that the Liberals should have felt confident holding is not there. It is bad news for the Liberals in the 905. And so there's probably a lot of people feeling quite antsy at the moment about the results that they're seeing in Brampton, for example. I mean, it's just so tight. It's so tight. And whoever, Mark Carney will be the prime minister, but there will be a lot of, I think, reaching out to millions of people who did not vote for that party. When I asked
the bloc, Quebec. That's who they'll be reaching out to.
Yeah, I'm told we're at about 38% turnout. Is that right? Where we are right now? So that suggests that there's a lot of ballots that have not been counted.
Yes.
And that's
Like
25%.
7.3 million people voted.
Unless really nobody voted today, which I also find hard to believe, because I was also told.
Well, no, do you not know how to do math, Rosie?
I don't think so.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Count for.
that's happening. But yeah,
She's saying that there's nothing more than the advanced ballots.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no one
Yeah.
voted today. I mean, there was people in line when I went.
yeah, I'll get my Uber.
Same. Yeah. I had like the longest line.
Okay.
I had to wait like 30 minutes, I
Go down
think.
to show you where we're at right now as we talk about all these factors that are not allowing us to make any determination on how this night is going to end as we get closer to midnight Eastern here. 161 being an
I
elected.
mean, I think it's pretty clear that the Liberals are
They're
going
going to
to
form the next government.
minority.
We are
At
not
least.
confused about that. That is
Let me look. Let me
confident
see.
in that projection. The second part of the story is what is left there on your screen at the bottom of your screen. 150 for the Conservatives. That is moving up and down pretty often, that number. The Bloc pretty much holding where you see it around 23, 24. The NDP not getting into the double digits for some time now, and that one green there, Elizabeth May. So that is where the fluidity of the evening is, and as Chantal just rightly pointed out, it is because of this unusual race where we are really talking about two parties fighting it out, as you can see there on the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, which is
that it makes it
annoying.
very difficult at this stage to know how the night is going to end, because all the things that we would normally know during an election simply aren't happening, even when it comes to the share of the vote, which is pretty evenly matched as well. I'm going to go to Ian, who's got some results now.
Before we get to the results, I want to say one of the cool things about sitting here is that when David Cochrane uses a phrase that's very colorful from Newfoundland, and I can watch Andrew Coyne's face.
Yeah.
It was not on camera, but it was one of the most amazing moments of the evening. Good on all of you.
I'm here for a good time and apparently a long time.
Anyways, that was really nice.
Well, it's after dark, right? So
Go to Manitoba now.
It's
and start
after
with
dark.
seat change in
Not quite yet.
Manitoba, where they've been sitting for a long, long time, and you can see the Liberals up two at the expense of the NDP, though only one of those two is elected, the other one is leading. But let's take a look first of all in the one they're leading. We talked about it a few times already. Nikki Ashton has been the longtime we're going to actually start in Winnipeg West. Doug Ailson, ER Doc, who was an MP for this riding and then got beaten by Marty Morantz, has turned the tables on him, and he is going back to Ottawa. I think we're going to go up north now. Yes, we are. Churchill,
Rebecca Chartrand.
asking. And the longtime MP, Nikki Ashton, is trailing by quite a bit. So we don't have enough information there to declare this riding, but you can see it's a big and solid lead for Rebecca Chartrand, who
I think I went to
lost
school with
this
that
riding
girl.
by a small margin.
Oh, really?
With that girl.
Way back in 2015. And let's look at the perfect bellwether, the riding in Winnipeg South, which since I think 1988, the winner of this riding is also a member of the government. It happens time and time again, and it's happened again. Terry Dupuy is leading, or actually has been declared elected there. Bartley Kivas, our CBC reporter who's done some excellent work in Manitoba covering politics, is with the winning candidate in that riding. Go ahead, Bartley.
So, Ian, as you mentioned, Winnipeg South is a perfect bellwether since it was created in 1988. There's only elected candidates from the party that wins, and I'm with one of them right now. Terry Duguid, first of all, when you thinking in December 2024 about your prospects, and think back to that right now, what would you tell yourself in a few months back?
I thought we were always in the game, but it's been a very decisive victory tonight, and I'm very grateful to the people of Winnipeg South and these amazing volunteers that are behind us. So,
A decisive victory here, but not a decisive victory nationwide. What do you make of the very close margin here and the fact that you've fallen short of a majority?
well, it was a very hard-fought race. The polls were very, very close all throughout the election campaign, but compared to where we were a few months ago, I think we.
I need the Bloc to get one more
happy about the
seat.
result tonight.
Yeah.
I have the Bloc
These results.
over 23 and a half.
They keep fluctuating. They went down to like 21 and then up.
Yeah, that CBC is being extremely conservative because that's what they did. That's what they always do. They want to make it look closer
Yeah.
than it actually is.
Yeah.
For the to drive the viewership, you know what I mean, rather than be the first ones to call it. That's
Yep.
their, the way that they're going at it.
From our neighbor to the south, so we need to work together to stand strong for Canadians.
Terry, thanks very much for taking the time here.
All right, Bartley, thank you very much. And we have the CBC projected that the Liberals will form government, and we have not yet had a projection as to whether that government will be majority or minority. Still a lot of counting to be done. Rosemary.
That's right. Okay, thank you, Ian, and good to see our friend Cartley Kivas out there in Manitoba.
Yeah, we said earlier, Rosemary, that the NDP lost the seat of Edmonton-Griesbach, but they have held on to another seat in Edmonton, and that is the seat of Edmonton-Strathcona. You can see projected, elected, re-elected Heather McPherson, and the CBC's Sam Sampson is in that riding of Edmonton-Strathcona tonight. Hey there, Sam.
Hi, Captain. Yes, and we are here with NDP projected winner of Edmonton-Strathcona, Heather McPherson. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on your win tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I mean,
She's one of the only like principled people within the fucking House of Commons. Even though she's she's not a Zionist, but she's an Uyghur liberationist.
Yeah. Is she the one that always wears the like watermelon pin or something?
Yeah, well, here in Ashton.
Kind enough to send me back to Ottawa.
Her in Ashton.
And, I'm going to say the same thing tomorrow that I've done every single day since I was elected in 2019. I'm going to get up tomorrow.
I mean, that's who needs to be the leader. That's who needs to be. Yeah.
That's what New Democrats do. This room was filled with people who were volunteers, who knocked on doors. We had the best candidates in the city. We had a great team. It just, the way things went, people were voting out of a sense of fear this election.
Wow. She has a good head on her shoulder.
You say you have the best candidates in the city, but unfortunately for your party, Lake Desjardins lost his seat to Kerry Diot in Edmonton-Griesbach. In terms of being the orange spot in Alberta at the moment, I mean, how do you represent the West when you go back to
chanting in the background and there's like no one there.
In 2019, I was the only New Democrat elected in Alberta, and we were able to get so many things done. With my private members, stop coal mining in the Rocky Mountains. We were able to actually move. In this last parliament, there were 25 New Democrats, and look what we did. The biggest expansion of healthcare in a generation under Jagmeet Singh, a pharmacare plan.
Yeah, you know what? I have to say right now, she would be way better than Wap Canoe, because at least she would be she could at least the identity politics thing aside, she could at least be just a principled woman who is someone who is working on standing against Carney on things that are important, but then standing with them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Whereas Jagmeet, he just flip-flopped. There was no principles. You know what I mean? He had no principles. And I feel like
he was pro flip-flopper.
Yeah, and I feel like Wap Canoe would be the same exact way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Point less at the moment. We'll see where the night takes us.
Really interesting. Thank you very much for that, CBC's Sam Sampson. And Rosemary, Heather McPherson saying the future of the NDP is in this room. Pretty noteworthy.
Ooh, that is bad.
Shots fired.
Here you go.
I mean, she's right.
Jagmeet Singh continues.
Gotta take that L.
In his
you gotta out identity politics.
Orange party.
They brought a fucking. I don't know much about this guy, but look, this guy's probably spooky as fuck. Chang, this guy is probably spooky as fuck.
For you, Heather McPherson, a bit of a star MP for the NDP, frankly. She was re-elected in her riding, but also a loss of Lake Desjardins. And Mr. Singh is in some trouble. What are you thinking tonight?
Well, it's obviously not a happy night for New Democrats. Yeah. But I think what most New Democrats understand is that this is an election where
he's a fucking anti-China. He's an anti-China. He's from Taiwan.
Oh, gee, yeah, we all know about Taiwan, right?
Against Donald Trump.
Don't like that.
But remember, the NDP is still the government.
It's the same kind of person that they used. What's his name? It ended up being a fucking full-on Zionist, but who got what's his name?
Because the NDP heavily
he had sexual assault allegations, and then had got kicked out of the party. He's in Toronto. He's not after today. He's done because he decided not to run again. But he's the same type of person, like a Taiwanese China person, so gets that type of vote by having a anti-China approach.
But I think there's and that Canadians will remember
Taiwan,
Mark Carney is first and foremost a banker and an investment capitalist. And so when it comes time for the Parliament to try and deal with the trouble that Trump is going to cause for ordinary Canadians, there need to be those voices there to say, what are you actually going to do to make it better for ordinary people? And there'll still be at least 9 or 10, if not 12, New Democrats to raise those questions.
Do you think, though, that Mr. Singh should have, earlier in the campaign, we talked a lot about how Mr. Poilievre should have pivoted, and who knows if that's actually the truth given where the numbers are, but I wonder whether Mr. Singh should have pivoted earlier, whether he should have not suggested there was some world in which he was going to be
has been a short campaign
for the balance of power and protecting the things that you're talking about.
Well, it's a very short campaign we've been in, so pivoting earlier means a week earlier, maybe.
Well, no, starting from that point, maybe.
Look, from the beginning, we had no idea what was going on because of Trump. We had no idea what kind of campaign it was going to be. We had no idea that this big shift would be, whether it would be lasting for Carney or whether it was a bump. So for the first couple of weeks of the campaign, nobody really knew what was happening. And once we did know what was happening, he did shift very quickly.
What happens if he loses his seat?
Well, it's always hard.
Replace him.
On his leader, and I'm ultra honest. I don't know whether he'll want to stay on as leader if he loses his seat. It's going to be very difficult for him. I know it's been very hard on his family because of the threats that have been made to him, and maybe he won't wish to continue. On the other hand, the advance polls come through. He still wins his seat. We still have 12, and the Liberals are 12 short. That's another whole thing. So that's a story you can't write yet.
No, yeah, that's fair.
We'll live to see tomorrow where we actually end up.
Okay. Thank you, Randall Garrison. Appreciate you being forthcoming there as well. All right, I'm going to take you to some other results here in the riding of Central Nova. Oh, we're just going to go straight to the person who won in the riding, and there he is, Sean Fraser. He did manage to win in the riding of Central Nova. Sean Fraser, congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you so much. We get to be together on election night anyway, Rosemary.
Okay, so it turns out that idea to not retire and spend time with your family worked out for you here. How are you feeling about that?
Look, I'm feeling really good about the path ahead. Obviously, it's an invigorating experience to be successful in an election, to have the privilege to represent the community in the House of Commons. My family's actually really excited. We were all together earlier this evening.
I mean, if he could speak French, he would.
Oh, they'd love him.
I'm totally teasing you. What do you make of what the numbers are so far, and the fact that this has been a two-party race throughout this election campaign? And
he's got to be not much older than me.
I don't know exactly how this is going to end, other than you are forming government.
Yeah, look, I'll reserve judgment on the final numbers that come in, but the results we're seeing tonight reflects my experience on the doorstep over the course of the last number of weeks. People were faced with a very clear
Got a big
choice,
threat there, south of the
represent
border.
Canada, defending Canada.
Good God.
The threat that we're seeing coming from south of the border. People have very different views as to the appropriateness of one party or another, but that's what elections are all about. More than anything, there's a clear choice with a clear issue, and thankfully, locally and nationally, the voters have made the choice that I think was the right one.
Right, but still not. I realized that the bar, 3 months ago was let's just survive. But as the election went on, it seemed like the bar was let's try and get to a majority. Could still happen, I suppose.
What the fuck do you want him to say, Rosie? Yeah, we fucked up, even though we won.
Is that something that you think Liberals can deal with and work with going forward with Mr. Carney if that's where we end up?
Well, look, I anticipate, and you got to keep it.
How many people are voting?
The government is not up to the political parties, but it's up to Canadians. The Canadian people are always right on the back end of an election. And if they decide to elect a minority or a majority, it's incumbent upon those of us who get elected to work across the aisle as much as possible to ensure.
Yeah, McPherson would be a solid counter to Carney.
I think so.
Because it would make Carney look like a sexist asshole. You know what I mean? But I mean, the fucking NDP needs to fucking even, you know what I mean? They're going to be 8 independents if they don't do something, which is probably going to happen.
Yeah. And Tommy, do you think it is possible for the Liberal Party to work with the Conservative Party? We were discussing it with the at-issue panel. I mean,
they're probably going to have a second election.
The election in terms of
and hopefully they'll have
I don't know how
in 2027 probably after the Quebec election.
For people to work together.
Yeah, because Quebec will be more left, and so it'll be easier for the Liberals to win. You know, because once the left, because the center left is going to win in Quebec and beat fucking Legault, and it's going to be the new PP. We're going to get a new PP.
We always do.
Right? He's a PP, right?
We have the opportunity to work with members.
The leader of the PQ.
We have the opportunity on an issue.
Probably.
Many conservatives as well.
I don't know, but yeah, probably.
Yes, he is.
No.
He's a triple P, actually. Paul St. Pierre Plamondon.
Oh, no.
He's a triple P. He's a PSD PP.
Community, and it's a lesson I'm going to take.
Congratulations again, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
I'm sure. Thank you so much, Rosemary.
Okay,
have
have
a
a
great
good evening.
You
Appreciate it so
so
much. Some of the people who have clinched their seats today, if any conservatives want to talk and you've won, happy to put you on as well. Just give us a call. Adrian, you've got some results.
Yeah, well, why don't we do that right now? Let's go to Bowmanville.
I've never seen this guy before.
This is, if you have a look here, this is
Holds the BA in Civil and Common Law from McGill.
This guy?
that the conservatives have held by
Yeah, PPP.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. He's an interesting dude. He's an interesting dude. He's probably, I think he's like legitimately younger than me.
Difference
77.
Oh, never mind. He just looks extremely fucking young.
Yeah,
But he's a legacy. He's the son of one of the founders of the Parti Québécois.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he's going to be the next premier of Quebec, or the next prime minister of Quebec.
This election and this riding certainly among them, but much of it was former Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole's riding in the by-election.
He worked with NATO in Belgium.
Won that. And Jamil Jvani winning again.
Side-eye.
Yeah, we have a great team here.
Well, yeah, he's not great. He's the provincial version of Blanchet, but he's good because, like, you know, he's a socialist. You know what I mean? But he's also pro-NATO. You know what I mean? Like, domestically, he's good. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Right? Except for things like immigration, and also with Quebec, they're pro, like, cultural separation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things where the party is going to end up being like an umbrella party, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and especially if they try to move towards separatism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're not going to like push people away. But yeah, the PQ is going to become like pretty much like a force in federal politics because of how much it's going to build up after the next election in Quebec. Because he's way more left of center than Legault. So like, you know what I mean? He'd be way more willing to be like, you know, a referendum is on the table. Like that is our ultimate goal. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to Legault, which is say like, oh, like Canada needs to give us what we need, and then we will give them what they like. You know, like that type of the rhetoric where this dude will just be like, no.
Yeah.
This guy is just an outright fascist.
A hype man to the Liberal Party. Some would argue that the challenge.
Yeah, he looks like one.
Is that there are these divisions in some ways.
So the top of his head to his the bottom of his chin kind of looks like a tic tac.
The federal party from the majority government that it's
So weird.
possible.
He's in the event.
The fractions.
He's like an indigenous genocide denialist.
What?
Yeah.
Across the board. Peter MacKay and Stephen Harper and
He put a motion towards like the government, like towards like that was voted down to try to get them to recognize that like indigenous genocide was like played up.
It's about some people believing our purpose as conservatives is to be an alternative to what the Liberals offer, and then there are people like Doug Ford.
He's the dude that the girl who asked the question after the debate on Wednesday night, like after the French debate when there was like the Rebel News.
Yeah, watch that. It was horrifying.
The question that she asked about the indigenous genocide denial was referencing his report.
The Christian. I was listening to that and I was like, one, who is this lady? Because she looks like a literal ghoul, and two, like, what is
she is a ghoul.
What is she even asking? Like, I don't.
Now 160 for the Liberals, 151 for your Conservatives. This is a lot closer
Insane.
than some had expected. Why do you think that is? Well, look, I think a lot of people.
25% of polls in, and Bruce Vanjoy is still up.
He's far below the Liberals. I think we're missing how many young people saw our party as the
party of dreamers and hustlers. What is he saying?
For young people, and we are going to continue offering them that vision for Canada. As we continue to see progress made, earning more trust, growing our party, getting more police support, young families.
Throw this man there.
Yeah, he's a fascist. Just a straight up anti-China, and like he's just an outright fascist.
Party will only go up from here.
Jamil Giovanni, thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Adrian, I will turn back to you from Jamil Giovanni's victory party here in Bowmanville, Oshawa North.
If only he would speak his mind, David. I mean, it's unfortunate.
Oh, I'm surprised you don't love him, Adrian.
Congratulations to him.
Adrian loves the like crypto right wingers who like,
That was very interesting.
you know, like the well-spoken right wingers, like JD Vance. She loves JD Vance.
Today, that was perhaps inspired by Jamil Giovanni said there. It was very frank and aggressive about what the federal conservatives are doing. Let's bring in the panel and get their response and reaction to that. I mean, if you wanted confirmation that there is a problem, it major risk between Ford conservatives and Poilievre conservatives, Jamil Giovanni just showed you that.
It's like it was two different interviews. Like the last part of it about the strivers and the go get them, etc.
The hustlers.
That's the kind of, but that's a kind of a positive vision of the party. The first part where he was on the tirade about Ford shows you part of the problem. I mean, it reflects the duality of the result here. They did a lot better than people were expecting mid-campaign. That's right. So they've escaped the skin of their teeth. But they blew a 25% lead. And I think you saw part of the reason why there, the failure to build bridges within their own movement.
Yes.
And this kind of scabrous negativity. I mean, you know, people talk about, oh, well, it's only because the NDP vote collapsed. A big part of the reason the NDP vote collapsed was Pierre Poilievre's leadership and the specter that he presented to.
Oh, the knives are going to come out so fast.
Conservative leaders are scary.
Yeah.
They're more likely to listen to the liberal siren call and you have to vote with us.
Yeah, and the favorability for Pierre Poilievre never improved. In fact, it probably did the opposite through the polls.
But if you're going to run possibly a fragile government, it's good news to hear this interview because you know the Premier of Ontario will continue to be working with you as the Liberal Prime Minister of Canada. And in the end, bottom line, once we get through this, who knows when thing, the next order of business is going to have to be dealing with what's happening south of the border. And the one relationship that will really matter is that of the Premier of Ontario with the Premier of Canada in those circumstances. Yes. Having listened to that, you kind of feel relieved that these are not the people who will be knocking at Premier Ford.
First half of the
I mean, it does, if it was...
Yeah, I mean, if they really...
With that kind of animosity between the biggest province in the country.
If they really wanted to squeeze the cons out forever, this would be a good time to do it.
Maybe
yeah,
be
exactly.
able to patch things up if they were going to form government. But
it would also make the NDP they'd be way more valuable than 8 seats.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I mean, as I say, they escaped the skin of teeth, but he should be a chastened leader at this point.
Because I bet you they have just as many votes as the Bloc
like that.
Nationally. I mean, that is also, you can only vote for the Bloc in Quebec, but still.
I know, yeah.
The last vote was at 128. He's 150. He may hold the Liberals to a minority. I mean, that will protect his leadership potential.
The first question, will he be in the House of Commons?
Yes.
Because I keep looking at those results in Carleton, and I'm waiting for them to find the stack of votes that puts him back on top. And there are still lots of polls in Carleton that have not been counted.
But he has not led that race yet.
Oh, he is significantly behind. It's not a close race at this point.
Yeah. Jason Kenney, we stuck Jason Kenney in there because I also heard Jamil Giovanni say your name as someone who is a conservative that he likes and points to as someone who will bring people together. What did you make of that? And like, there is obviously a problem here between Ford conservatives and Poilievre conservatives, and I don't know if it matters, but there's some animosity.
Well, there are certainly some personal differences, and really, by which I mean, I think this is actually much more personal than it is ideological or factional.
Yeah, that's how it is with them.
Factions and personality factions. In this case, there's 2 or 3 personalities that have really ramped up what I think is an unnecessary conflict that simply needs to get resolved.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know Jamil, for whom I have enormous regard. He's a incredibly talented a guy with an amazing story.
Yes.
He has a particular series of grievances. And I just, none of this should have been in the public domain. Let's put it that way.
No, for sure.
And I agree there should have been earlier efforts.
Wait, what?
engage those relations, get those relationships.
Whoever's in charge of
Much
the
more.
CBC thing,
But
they
it's not like
like
there's a huge rift.
it said block headquarters, and then it switched to liberal headquarters, and then back to block headquarters.
It's both.
PC critique has been that Poilievre's team doesn't know how to win in Ontario. He's right now over 45% of the popular vote. Mr. Ford won 43% of the popular vote earlier this year. So the federal Conservative campaign is getting a better result, a larger total raw vote count, and a higher share of the popular vote. That's nothing to sneeze at. And I think
Nothing to sneeze at.
everybody has to put some water in their wine and put the best interests of the country first. Maybe the common interests of partisan conservatives somewhere in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Pierre Poilievre had called Doug Ford right from the get-go, it's the same way that Mark Carney did. He went and had breakfast with him. It probably would have helped. Whether it matters at this stage, I don't know.
Well, remember, it's not just Poilievre versus Ford. It's Poilievre versus Tim Houston in Nova Scotia. And it seemed like there were a series of candidates who looked like they could be perfectly acceptable and presentable candidates with party who just didn't fit in with the Poilievre clique. I mean, Mike DeJong in BC, why was he not allowed to be a candidate? So you know, it's one thing. Yeah, you can have a tent that's too broad and you look at that.
That's like the camera went.
And just wind up defeating yourself.
Walk into Party headquarters. So maybe, possibly. That's just a look inside the room where, that's what it looks like when you have not won an election and you're waiting to see more. Let's go to Kate McKenna, who's, I imagine that
Is it the Conservative
sense of
headquarters?
feeling in that room tonight. Kate, it does look like they have improved over what they
That
got.
is amazing.
Tell me what people are telling you.
Your guest just mentioned about the federal Conservatives doing better in Ontario than the provincial Conservatives did. That's something that the campaign is going around talking about. That's something that is very much being discussed in this room. And yes,
By who? Who is in that room? There were like 5 people.
happy. Well, I wouldn't say they're happy, but they're encouraged by their gains that they've made. They're encouraged by the amount of popular vote that they're getting. But of course, one thing that's hanging in this room is that Pierre Poilievre has not won his seat yet.
He's not gun enough.
In his seat. We are hearing that he is set to talk in a few minutes. But
Oh, I can't wait.
Jamil Giovanni into the
He's gonna talk.
CBC broadcast.
I can't wait.
Is he gonna resign?
Guys, I don't see that happening, but
I can see it happening.
really,
Why else would he be speaking? You know what I mean?
appears to still be taking place within this party, and we'll be watching to see how it manifests over the next few minutes.
wow, that's a huge Canada flag background. Wow.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at Greater Vancouver.
Vancouver.
How the NDP are doing there in terms of seat change, first of all. So we'll put that up on the screen, I hope, or if we don't, then I will, there we go. So this is vote change in Greater Vancouver, and you see...
Ooh, look at that. And he almost negative 20. Ooh.
You can see that this is at the expense of the
Yep.
NDP. Now, hours ago, when we looked at New Brunswick, this kind of vote change didn't really affect seats at all, but in Greater Vancouver, it is
PPC.
seats. Let's take a look first of all at Port Moody.
Down.
Oh, cool.
A three-way race.
That's where I grew up.
In 2020.
Oh, no.
This time around, the NDP has plummeted from having won
This was never my writing, though.
$800. Still close.
Port Moody is like Westmount. It has its own police, like just rich yuppies.
The progressive vote,
That's Port
the
Moody.
center vote, has been split just enough between the NDP and the Liberals
surprising.
allowed the Conservatives to come up through the
New West.
Take a look at this.
Okay.
Beat Millard. Peter Julian, one of the mainstays for so many years. He's been the MP here since 2004.
Oh, wow.
And he is in third place. That would have been easy even for me to do the math between the Liberals. If someone had been able to consolidate those numbers on the center left, that would easily win. But in both of those cases, Rosemary, at this point, arguably, it has allowed once again the Conservatives.
That's a very hyper cap behind you.
Those aren't elected yet, but it is interesting and it helps explain why the numbers look the way they do, particularly in BC at this point.
Thank you for that, Ian. I want to go back to Jason Kenney If I can, just to ask you this question, we're going to shortly, we're going to hear from Jagmeet Singh,
Oh.
little box there at the bottom.
So that's we're waiting for Jagmeet.
But if Polyev ends up with a
Why do they have a big Canada flag like that? Why?
Put aside whether he's going to win his riding.
I can't hear you.
Sorry. Are they gonna burn it?
That would be great.
What do you think is going to happen there? Thing about the rise. I don't know whether this is real, but he hasn't led. At all.
All right.
Yeah, well, I can just say that I think Mr. Polyev, he decides to stay as leader and leader of the opposition, he will have overwhelming support to do so. I don't see any faction or group within the party egging for a new leadership. I think the party realizes changing leaders every 3 or 4 years is counterproductive. And
No, everything he's saying here is incorrect.
The Brian Mulroney 37 years ago in 1988.
We need steady leader.
Supporters in a broader conservative coalition that includes younger voters than typical, apparently doing very well in communities of new Canadians. And one of the most interesting things, I talked earlier about the sort of blue collar swing that we seem to be observing in the conservative. When the Conservatives are winning in Windsor, Kumsey, Windsor West,
All right, I'm going to
we almost won Hamilton. We're competitive.
post that. I'm still streaming. Maybe we'll get more people.
Long. I know it's fashionable around here to refer to the progressive.
No, I don't care. I just mean that
NDP voters wouldn't
every time I do this, it ends up being like a wave of like some people and then some idiots too. As the night progresses, I'm sure that'll
picked up apparently at least.
What happened?
And finally,
I mean, last time I did this, it was depressing because Trump won.
In our lifetime, some might
This
say
time it's a little bit less depressing, especially because I called it. You know, I would probably be more depressed if I didn't call it.
Of the very
Half
name
of their
going to carbon tax.
political appeal is that they're just savvy.
That to him as well.
Look, I mean, I heard my friend Aris here dismissively referring to Mr. Poilievre's 3-word slogans. Look, he created the issue matrix that has been dominating Canadian politics for the past 2 years.
What the fuck are you talking about, bro? The issue matrix, bro. Touch grass, you fucking weird. What the fuck are you talking about? Lock off.
On capital gains tax increase. I believe he's the only leader who in French and English pointedly opposed the Quebec Bill 21 law against religious symbols in Quebec. Okay, did somebody else?
He didn't. He actually has fudged whether he would intervene in the Supreme Court on it. So
I heard his.
I love her. She's like, don't do that.
I think he ran a substantive campaign. He set
like,
up
Yeah, she wants to strangle him.
and he's increased.
She said it. Love it.
Those points, and they're excellent points. I'm going to let Jagmeet Singh speak in a moment. Except that wasn't the bar. The bar was 25 points ahead, and you were going to form government.
Yeah.
The party's going to be angry with him?
Oh, there's going to be a desire for sure for a retrospective. And I think any leader after this circumstance should show some humility, should take a step back. And I think the important thing is, does a leader have the ability to learn and to grow? I think we've seen him modify his tone, his approach, his issue focus over the past several months. I think that demonstrates such an ability. He'll have to demonstrate that to the party, but I don't see anybody gunning for his job.
Yeah, I'm not saying his leadership's in any trouble, but he needs to reflect on why he's not going to be prime minister tomorrow, because a large part of it was the leadership. The leader was the biggest liability for the party. The strategy that the party pursued, at least for the first part of the campaign, was clearly wrong. He bears responsibility for that. So he should clearly have to answer some questions to the party.
it's also very dangerous to take for granted for both the Liberals and the Conservatives that the NDP weakness in this election is something that will be permanent. On the contrary, I don't know what Mr. Singh is going to say, but at this point, it's not really hard to imagine that it could be stronger with a stronger leader than it has been.
See, she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, she's the most insightful one of them all. Like, I never know what her name is. Like, I get the Althea, I think her name is.
The 905, right?
She's just like a liberal,
especially on the
you know what I mean, surrogate. And then Andrew Coyne is just a spineless fuck. Like, that's what his politics.
That aggressive tone really does not sit well with a significant chunk of the caucus that has been reelected. And we will find out as soon as the first caucus meeting whether or not they decide to approve the Reform Act, and the caucus sees itself the power to decide whether or not Pierre Poilievre stays. And I think that will be a way for them to negotiate, because I think there are things that they would like. One MP called it the end of the reign of terror. Basically, they want Jenny Byrne gone. And if the result is low enough, they will set conditions to say, you want to stay, well, these are the changes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, quickly, Mr. Kenny, because I'm going to go to Mr.
Yeah,
Oh,
would
he's gonna
say-
be on.
I think there are legitimate questions around tone.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to hear this guy talk anymore. Come on.
He had made an effort to more clearly position to auditioning for the role of prime minister rather than opposition leader late last year. It would have been marginally helpful. I don't think it would have changed the fundamental structure of this election.
Okay.
In the way things unfold.
Thank you, Jason Kenney. Let's go to Jagmeet Singh. He's there in his riding in British Columbia. I should tell you that right now, as things stand, Mr. Singh is well behind in his own riding. He is in third with 4,000 votes. The other two far ahead. So things not looking good for him in his own riding tonight. And as we've shown you there, the NDP, not even official party status. Let's listen.
Yeah, super well. Okay, let him talk. Relax.
Yeah, he lost.
Like,
You actively made the fucking party worse. You actively sabotaged the party.
and he could have been so good.
Well,
Thank you. That was very nice. Thank you so much.
This is so awkward.
You're gonna get me all choked up here.
Please stop. Please. I'm uncomfortable.
Thank you very much. The love is amazing. I appreciate y'all. Big thank you to Suzanne.
look, I did
With
lose.
us from the beginning. Huge thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And all of you in this room, you guys poured your heart into this. Thank you so much for everything you've done. You're amazing. Love you all. And I know in election parties, night parties across the country, people are gathered, and I want to thank them all for all their hard work. They're amazing people gathered together across the country. I want to take a moment to congratulate Prime Minister Carney on his victory. He has an important job to do, to represent all Canadians and to protect our country and its sovereignty from the threats of Donald Trump. Tonight and every night, all of us here, we're on Team Canada. We want Canada to thrive. What is happening? What is happening? I want to congratulate all the other leaders on a hard-fought campaign. It's been the honor of my life to represent the people of Burnaby Central. Tonight they chose, thank you.
He sucks. Relax, guys.
Tonight they chose a new member of parliament, and I wish them well as they continue to work hard for this community. Obviously, I know this night is a disappointing night for New Democrats. We had really good candidates that lost tonight.
Yep.
I know how hard you worked. I spent time with you. You're amazing. I'm so sorry you're not going to be able to represent your communities. I know you're going to continue to fight for them. I know on how many doors you knocked, how many family dinners you missed, how many nights your kids went to bed without you there to tuck them in. I know it was a tough sacrifice, and I just want to thank, and we can get a round of applause to every single candidate that went.
Conservatives are still winning the popular vote.
Yeah.
And they're incredible teams, because no candidate can do without a team. The volunteers, the staff, thank you to all those candidates and their incredible staffs. One more time.
Oh no, sorry, I'm actually wrong.
Oh.
In the popular vote by about 190,000.
Oh, wow.
Choosing to commit your life to politics obviously comes with some sacrifice. But we choose this life because of the chance to change the country we love for the better. We may lose sometimes, and loss is hurt, it's tough. But we are only defeated if we stop fighting. We're only defeated when we believe that those that tell us that we can never dream of a better Canada, a fairer Canada, a more compassionate Canada. I've met New Democrats from coast to coast to coast who will never back down, even when they're told that there's no room for them at the table. We make room for everyone because we believe that there is enough wealth in Canada for all of us to live the life that we deserve. Honestly, I gotta avoid making eye contact with certain people because then it's
no.
You can tell that he just like straight up is saying this so that he can get out of the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If he believed in this, he would be screaming. You know what I mean? It would be, you know what I mean? Like Andrea Horvat put on a fucking better like bye speech.
I think because he's about to say like, howdy.
Yeah, I know, but then why not be as, as hard left as you can if you're going to go out, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, why not be, look at him, he's being civil. That's what he is. That's what he represents.
I know, it's so gross. What is going on, man?
One more sec.
Oh.
Tonight, I've been informed party leader that I'll be stepping down as party leader as soon as an interim leader can be appointed.
All right.
Now, I could not have done this incredible job without, here's a point, I'll give me a second to break down. I couldn't have done it without the incredible support of my wife. Could have given.
It's funny because I wrote an article knowing that this is going to happen.
She's been my rock. She's been my foundation. For the past couple of years, I've been regretting that I didn't thank her on the night of the last election. So this is my opportunity to make up for it. She has literally been my rock. I couldn't have done this without her. She's backed me up. She has made so many sacrifices. She convinced me that she's enjoyed them all, but I don't know. But she's amazing. I'm just so thankful. Thanks for being on this journey. I'm gonna give you a hug. Hold on.
I haven't read that article yet.
Yeah, I mean, I was also I was going to write it, I was going to publish it before the election was over, and then I was like, I probably shouldn't do that.
Fair. Yeah.
Like, vote, but then know that, like, your vote isn't going to actually do anything. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm very sappy when it comes to my daughter, so I get a little emotional.
That's why I feel so weird when, like, people are so on the go vote. If you don't vote, blah blah blah. I don't want.
Yeah.
My brother, I wouldn't have been on this journey without my brother. So big shout out to my brother.
Your brother donated to the convoy? Uh-oh.
And honestly, this may sound funny, but my in-laws, I literally couldn't have done this without my in-laws. They're amazing. Where are my in-laws? They're somewhere here. Wherever they are, they're here. I wanted to look at them and point at them. Oh, there they are. Yeah, I couldn't have done it without them. Literally, if you're a parent, you know how important your parents are. And your in-laws too, it turns out. So huge thank you. They've supported us. They've kept me grounded, given us great advice. I'm so thankful to my family. You can't do this work without great people, and you can't do this without a great family supporting you. So thank you.
Notice how much he's talking about himself.
Spilling my water and everything.
Think about, like, when Corbyn got cooed and what he said on the way out. You know what I mean? I'm sure he didn't talk about his family and his in-laws. You know what I mean?
Are concretely better off because of our work over the last 8 years, and no election result will ever diminish that. So thank you.
That is objectively false. That is objectively false. Anything that you have done, the Liberals did better than you, and that's what made you obsolete.
Exactly.
Our caucus, honestly, I'm so thankful to them all. We did some incredible work together. Seriously, every one of you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I might break down this part too. Forgive me if I do. I can only do this, and we can only do this work because of a great staff. And y'all just poured your heart to me.
Yeah.
To the work that we did.
100%. Could not agree more. I would love for him to, like, actually get some words out without people, like, clapping after every sentence and him drinking water and saying nothing.
This water is very strategically placed, so it's very, very lucky that I have glasses. So just if anyone can help me out on that, that'd be great. Y'all brought your talent, your heart to the fight every day. We treat each other with respect and dignity and with kindness. I love you all.
I feel like he's really, I feel like he's really shaken up. Are you sure?
I feel like he feels like he wished he could have done more. Which is just like, yeah, I'm sure everyone
too little, too late.
Yeah, too little, too late, bro.
Get off my chest here. One other thing is, nothing's too spicy. It's just good stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He would be on his way out. He would be screaming for the worker. You know what I mean? For
especially the people. Literally what just happened in Vancouver the other day, and him.
And it's something that is it captures a big part of who I am, and it's the idea that in the fight for justice and the fight for fairness, the fight that we fight, we want to have optimism in the face of struggle. We want to have a defiant optimism. It's like this eternal resilience, and this is the spirit that I carry tonight. Obviously, I'm disappointed that we could not win more seats, but I'm not disappointed in our movement. I'm hopeful for our party. I know that we will always choose hope over fear and optimism over despair and unity over hate.
Don't say that, though. That's not a good thing to say. The New Democrats built this country. I feel very uncomfortable.
Democrats built this country. We've built the best of Canada, and we aren't going anywhere.
Well, thankfully you are, sir. Hit the fucking bricks, bud.
Appreciate you all so much.
That was so embarrassing.
Okay, that is Jagmeet Singh conceding, first of all, his own riding of Burnaby South, where he continues to be in third place, and announcing that he will step down as leader as soon as a new interim.
The amount of damage he did in that short amount of time is very concerning.
Marina von Stackelberg is in the room there, Marina. Obviously a very emotional,
5 minutes?
and I must say, a very gracious speech by Jagmeet Singh tonight.
This was really the worst case scenario for the NDP. This idea that Jagmeet Singh would not be able to hold on to his own seat, that there would be severe losses for the party, which is how this is panning out. You know, throughout this campaign, one thing that we've heard from supporters and from
they were scared of a Trump.
Voters that would have voted for the NDP were scared. They were scared of a Trump. They were scared of Trump. They were scared of a fully out majority, and so they were going towards Mark Carney's Liberals. You know, the party tells me that they feel like if they would have had a bit more time to explain to people that this would cause vote splitting, this is what we've seen is several, you know, big name NDP MPs potentially or actually losing their seat because of vote splitting. The party clearly
but what were people saying about the NDP in
about it here in BC, saying vote for NDP to prevent conservatives.
Vancouver was like needles, drugs, poverty, or whatever.
Really?
You see that? Yeah.
It was something that, no matter how it shook out, they had helped to get dental care. They had made dental care happen.
Oh my god. Oh my god, a fucking benefit that barely covers one visit. Oh my god, pat yourselves on the back. You guys are fighting for the working class with a fucking benefit that barely covers one fucking visit. The province of Quebec has a better healthcare system than the nation of Canada. Like, when I lived in Quebec, I paid $220 for my medication, the exact same medication in Quebec. Sorry, when I lived in Ontario, the exact same medication in Quebec is $60.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Randall Garrison there. I will say, if you're going to lose and have a devastating night, and still act that gracious in your loss, that speaks to the humanity of the actors and certainly of
Fuck off, too little too late. Fuck your humanity, it's over. Fuck you. You don't go out graciously when you lose like that. You go out on your shield. You know what I mean? You go out like a rabid dog.
Too early to write this.
Like, you dumb fucks. Oh my god. And like, this is the thing. Trudeau neutralized Jagmeet the moment that he took a fucking knee at the George Floyd protests, because then Trudeau was everything that Jagmeet was presented as. You know what I mean? So then what was the point of Jagmeet if there was already a Trudeau? Now that there is no Trudeau, you know what I mean? There's no reason for there to be a fucking Jagmeet, because they're the same fucking brand. They just bounced off each other. You know what I mean? And like, the politics has matured, and it's not gotten better. It's just matured, where it's just like, we're not talking about fucking identity anymore. You know what I mean? Like, because of, you know what I mean? Like, for better or worse. Not to say that it's just, that's, you know, like, it's just, he fell into the trap of identity, and then didn't do enough, and then got outflanked by the fucking left-wing liberal, where it's just like, bro, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, how do you, like, for me, like, looking back, it was the moment that Trudeau took the fucking knee during the George Floyd protests, because then it was like, Trudeau is everything, the people who are enough of an electorate to swing elections. Trudeau is the figure that, like, people sought Jagmeet to be. Like, he just became that figure because it's just based on identity. Never because 100%. He ever said anything about benefiting people. It was always identity first, which opened the door for them being pro fucking Zionist. You know what I mean? Like,
and I mean, his leaving speech is exactly that too. It had nothing to do with policy or anything. It was all self-serving.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing as Carney. Like it's literally the same
Yeah.
thing as Carney. Like when Carney
Yeah.
got voted in, that he talked about was like, I looked up to Chrétien, I looked up to my father, I looked up to these power figures, and I want to better the world for for the people around me. I admire power, and how power can make my life better. And now I'm gonna go with my family and enjoy the thing. Like, you know what I mean? Well, you're all like, well, people are dying in the streets, bro.
Yeah, like I'm glad you're living comfortably. It's not the reality for most people.
And the worst thing he ever did was that picture of him holding his child where he was like hawking a fucking a gamer chair on Instagram. Like,
Yeah, make this shit up. Oh god, you ready for it?
what? Polivia?
Yeah.
I can't say his name.
Don't even worry about it. It's not worth saying correctly. Here.
Next 30 minutes.
He gets here.
Well, because he like anglicized it. It should be like Polivia. Like that's the way to say it. Polivia. But he anglicized it, so it's like Poliev. You know what I mean?
It's with his wife.
Here's my wife, everyone. Look at my wife. I'm so progressive. I am for the people.
She is a pretty Venezuelan fascist. I'll give her that.
Yeah.
At this hour, remember, unusual things going on in that riding because of the longest ballot campaign. There are 9 people on the ballot, but Pierre Poilievre has not led once in the course of this evening in his own riding, and the Liberal there, Bruce Banjoy, is ahead by more than 2,000 votes. So
Shut up, bro.
Sure, not calling anything there, but not very encouraging for Mr. Poilievre tonight.
Dear, I love you too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's with profound gratitude that I stand before you today at the moment of this historic election. Because only in Canada could the story that Anna and I bring to the stage be possible. Adopted son of school teachers and a Venezuelan refugee. Stand on this stage in front of our proud country, offering ourselves up to serve for the future. After millions of people have shown up,
Yeah, I would hope so.
mark their ex.
You are punching up, my dude, and that's not saying much.
Democratic rights. We could not be more proud. We could not be more grateful for the opportunity.
Why was that kiss so awkward? Oh my god.
Speaking now of Anna, I want to take a moment to thank my incredible wife. She's been by my side. She's my rock. I love and cherish you and our little ones more than you'll ever know. And I could not have done any of this without you. Thank you so much.
What did you do? Lose? Fail?
Now, my message to Canadians. The promise that was made to me.
Why is the smile like
anybody from anywhere.
like that?
Through hard work, you could get a great life. You could have a nice, affordable home on a safe street. My purpose in politics is and will continue to be to restore that promise. Thank you.
This is why he didn't win.
Under our banner as conservatives, to the volunteers who knocked on
That
the
out,
door, made phone calls, put up lawn signs, rallied at our events, donated their hard-earned money to our cause. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. To the millions of people who voted for the Conservative Party and put
Bring it
hopes and
home.
dreams in our vision. Thank you.
Didn't bring it home.
It will be an honor.
You didn't bring it
to
home.
fight for you and to be a champion of your cause as you go forward.
Stop.
It would be a great honor to continue to fight for you because it has been an honor to be your voice, to fight for conservative values, the values for which you voted, and it will be an honor to continue.
Hey, bro, you lost.
Try and
you
restore
still lost.
the promise of Canada, that anyone who works hard can have a great life in an affordable home, in a safe community. That is our vision, and we
Love it. Love the dogs.
To my fellow conservatives, we have much to celebrate tonight. We've gained well over 20 seats. We got the highest share of vote our party has received since 1988.
What did that get you?
And Liberals enough seats to send the government meeting. And we did all of this in a very difficult environment. That said,
Why
We
is that
are-
smile so creepy?
Didn't quite get over the finish line yet. We know that change is needed, but change is hard to come. It takes work.
But you still lost.
That's why we have to learn the lessons of tonight so that we can have an even better result the next time the Canadians decide the future for the country.
The only thing that they can do is like run him, parachute him into another riding to get him his seat back.
Yeah.
But like that would be pathetic.
It would be, but I wouldn't put it past them.
I mean, that's what they'll have to do.
Yeah.
You can't lead the party if you don't have a seat. You know what I mean? That's what that Carney would have done that as prime minister.
Yeah.
Mr. Carney on leading this minority government. We'll have plenty of opportunity to debate and disagree, but tonight we come together as Canadians. We will do our job. Yes, we will do our job to hold the government to account.
Kiss the ring, Pierre. Kiss the ring, bud.
We congratulate people from all political backgrounds on participating in the democratic process. As I said, while we will do our constitutional duty to hold the government to account and proposing better alternatives, we will always put Canada first as we stare down tariffs and other irresponsible threats from President Trump. Conservatives will work with the Prime Minister and all parties with the common goal of defending interests and getting a new trade these tariffs behind us while protecting our sovereignty and the Canadian.
This guy doesn't care about unions. What?
I want to thank my Conservative team, my caucus, of the Conservative staff and others who've helped reshape the entire political landscape in this country. Conservatives have achieved major breakthroughs tonight. We brought in record support from blue-collar and unionized workers, youth, new Canadians. We gave voices to countless people across this country who've been left out and left behind for far too long. We won the big debates of our time on the carbon tax, on inflation, on housing, on the drug crisis, on crime. Conservatives have been leading the debate, and we will continue to put forward the best arguments to improve the lives of our people right across this country. But we will not stop there. Every single
Yeah, I
our
think so.
Conservative caucus and I will be holding the government.
They spent a lot of money making him look like that. You see what he looked like before?
Yeah. I was in Rachel Gilmore and Mabel Takes chat. It was Pierre's inner dialogue being like, remember to smile, Pierre. Remember to smile.
On behalf
Oh,
of
it's so true.
vote for real change.
So excited.
I have seen this country to speak.
I love the woman who does the translating is just sitting there. She's been waiting all night. You're up.
To tell me their struggles, their pain, their fears, but also their hopes.
Did Jagme not speak French?
Welders and waitresses.
No.
I don't think he did.
Just at the end, he said like one word in French, I think. and just like,
Single mothers, young Canadians and young families pleading for the chance to own a home.
which is actually
Parents
surprising
worried
though,
their
because
kids would never be able to move out of their
his
home.
French is fine, is it not?
Yeah, I just mean that he probably doesn't care.
And suffer
You know what I mean?
from
Good point.
and countless others
Can
who
we
are
fuck
threatened
off
to
the
go
stage?
suicide because of the rising wave of crime. All of these stories touched my heart and gave me inspiration to work towards something better. These people continue to need voices, and I will
Change does
continue
take
to
time.
fight for them every day, and every day we will never give up on fighting for the Canadian people.
Yay, nationalism. Let's go, guys. Remember to smile, Pierre. Remember to smile.
Stories. We will carry those stories with us into Parliament. We will not forget the people for whom we work and for whom we fight every day.
Neck.
Now, I know that some of you might be disappointed that change did not get over the finish line tonight. Change takes time. Most of all, it requires that we never give up because our people and our country are worth fighting for.
Our people?
Yeah, our people.
Our people, eh? Interesting.
Our people. So, Pierre, what kind of people are your people?
That's a
Carried your stories with me through this campaign. My new stories will remain with me as I fight with my Conservative team to defend you and to advance your interests. To those who desperately need change, I know that you're disappointed. Change is difficult and it takes time, particularly
Because I fucked up and I'm bad at my job.
No
That's
longer
why.
feel safe in our neighborhood parks.
We continue to fight for them.
Who voted for other parties.
And so, my message tonight for the single mother working 2 jobs but still has an empty fridge and an empty bank account. For the young people who despair at never being able to afford a home. For the seniors on fixed incomes whose savings are
The
eroded by
great
inflation.
Canadian
In
promise.
local neighborhood parks. For those
Huh?
who are now living in fear and terror because of crime. For those worried about losing their jobs because of unacceptable tariffs from the United States.
Canada Airways. You couldn't even say always, right? It's Airways.
And forgotten. My message is one of hope.
Canada Airways?
But we will fight
It's the
for
big
this.
L.
Airways.
And we will never give up on fighting for the great Canadian promise that anyone from
I mean, I voted for Chrystia Freeland once.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier.
When I was apolitical.
on a safe street protected by our brave.
It's okay. I have a picture with Trudeau somewhere out there. I could find it at some point. Catch me on my new podcast.
What is this song?
I know.
I will say this though.
What is
This is the saddest irony. Pierre said more about working class people and material conditions than Jagmeet did.
Yeah. And don't forget, Canada first. Canada Airways.
Okay, Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative leader of Canada, as he quite rightly points out, he has improved the outcome tonight, both in popular vote and in seat count. At this hour, Pierre Poilievre is still trailing in his own riding of Carleton, talking about his profound gratitude to the many Canadians that did decide to choose him, and making it very clear that he plans to stay on as leader and continue to hold the government to account and to fight for, he said, change.
I mean, how are you going to do that without a seat? How are you going to do that as the leader of the opposition without a seat in the House of Commons?
And his wife, Anna Poilievre, we're hoping for tonight, Kate.
Went out and he said change takes time. We didn't get it over the finish line, but we're going to come back and do it next time. I can tell you, Rosie, that's not what they were expecting a few months ago. They were very prepared to form government, and that's not what's happening here.
And then you drop the fucking ball. You weren't savvy enough to fucking parlay Trump into something because you
How
just.
much it must suck for him to be endorsed by like Musk and shit and still lose.
I mean, it's a good like you know, it's good to make them take an L. You know what I mean?
So sweet.
Yeah, you ripped off. He got the most people to donate to the party to then lose.
Yeah, exactly.
They're the same exact thing as the Ontario NDP, where they they need to be the opposition, and that's it.
That song, I know. The song
It's
is
not
so bad.
It's garbage compared to I'm gonna play the Doug Ford song. The Doug Ford song is literally like a work of art. It's like pop punk.
Yeah.
Get it done. Yeah, it's incredible. It's a great song.
Conservative campaign throughout the campaign. I'm not sure if we'll come back to you, but otherwise I'll see you tomorrow. That's Kate
I'm not sure if we'll come back to you. That's a good. It's a good.
And others have been doing.
It's a good way to describe the conservatives.
Media bus and plane, and so it made covering the campaign difficult, which I know is also a criticism of some conservatives. Let me bring in Jason Kenney now.
Okay. I'm gonna use the washer really quick and get some water, and we'll be
very
back.
careful.
Okay, I'm gonna play the
kinds of things,
Doug
but-
Ford
that
I'm back.
he has no intention of leaving, and he was pointing to the proof points as to why he deserves to stay and continue this fight. And I know you think that he will. I do know people who are already gearing up to try and push him out. We'll see what happens.
Well, I know a lot of conservatives in Canada, and I haven't heard that from anybody. I'm not to say they don't exist.
Okay, Jason, you fucking loser.
He certainly has. He certainly has earned, in my view, the right to stay on as leader, for the reasons I've already articulated, and that he did tonight. Look, he's got to show some humility for sure. Any leader who loses in any
Canada
circumstance
is a
has to
major
do that.
oil and gas
That means
producing
reaching
country.
out. It means perhaps an approach more focused on making friends. And that includes provincial leaders. It includes, by the way, there are, for some peculiar reason, a lot of ridings held back, dozens of them, for the very last minute, where dozens and dozens of candidates were basically pushed out of the way for appointees. There will be some grassroots offenses to be mended there. But I think, look, if you've been to a one or two of Pierre's events, you can see that he has a uniquely strong connection. You all can dismiss it as the base. These are many people.
Well, they're
never been
conservatives,
before
they're not
involved,
the base.
but
Yeah,
they're not
yeah,
just.
yeah.
They're more than traditional conservative partisan activists.
Right.
He's brought in, right from his leadership on, a new cohort of people, getting them into the democratic process, which I think is commendable. And there are a lot of people, and I congratulate Mr. Carney. I think he's a phenomenally talented man. And as a conservative, I wish him nothing but the best in standing up for this country against the threats and intimidation of Donald Trump. I was very happy to hear Pierre say that tonight.
Yeah, that was
that
important.
while his constitutional job is to hold the government to account, he will stand united with the government in defending Canada's interests. That's critical. Yep. It's important to acknowledge that there's a reason why all those people were showing up in record levels of funding in a political campaign. There is a large well of deep anxiety in this country to which he spoke about people being unable to afford a home, pay their bills, deal with cost of living, crime in their communities, and a sense of despair amongst growing up Canadians. He has become a very powerful voice for that. So I wouldn't diminish that. And I think that's it. We're talking here about millions of Canadians who identify very strongly with what you just heard.
Yep.
I think he needs to blend into that, learn from this lesson. Yeah. You know, one of the things I wish he had done earlier on was to find a sister soldier moment, as they say in American politics, to identify the MAGA North crew on the Canadian right, to call them out and say that if they agree with Donald Trump and want us to become the 51st state, they have no place in the conservative movement. He did say that implicitly. I think it would have been more effective. You know, the problem for Canadian conservatives is they had to almost overcompensate, I think, in opposing Trump, both in tone and in substance. I don't think there was much daylight between Mr. Poilievre and Mr. Carney on the substance of how to deal with the Trump threat. But there was a presumption from a certain set of typically older Canadian voters that somehow conservatives in general, or Pierre in particular, weren't really all that fussed about Trump's threats. I don't agree. By the way, one of the positives tonight is the total disappearance of the People's Party of Canada, less than 1%. Stick for it. For all the MAGA North people on social media who have been championing Trump's against Trump, you're less than 1% of the population. So that should no longer be a distraction for the Conservative Party. And I think it's an opportunity to acknowledge some real progress has been made by the party, but also own for humility to see how it could have been done differently.
Okay, let's have our friend over there beside you weigh in.
I think what we saw during this broadcast is the division that exists within the party. Do you want to be angry like Jamil Javani and couple names, or do you want to be a bridge builder? And I think that is the discussion that caucus is going to have. Mr. Poilievre has clearly said he has no intention of leaving. He actually can stay. The party can pay a salary for him to remain the leader of the party while there is an opposition leader in the House, and Mr. Poilievre can run in a by-election. But I think that, you know, you compare and contrast Mr. Singh's speech and Mr. Jamil Javani's words and Pierre's words, and big divisions within caucus about the direction that the party wants to go. I hear you and I agree with you.
Did I miss anything?
Basic on the party and all the new people he brought in.
I think you're muted.
I think he speaks to that anger. I think he not only has given voice to people's anxiety, but I think he fuels people's anxiety in a way and capitalize on that in terms of fundraising dollars. I mean, that's the way our system is built. He has.
We don't need another center. We're good. Thank you.
People to be angry and don't want money and get more eyeballs and more social media. And I think the tone we will very soon know in the House is: do you want to be the statesman-like person that we saw during the debates, or do you want to be this angry person that we saw through Jamil Javani?
I mean, I do think some of it, to be fair to Mr. Poilievre, I do think some of the campaign did pivot towards trying to be hopeful, to take a frustration of Canadians that was real, that he tapped into for so many months, and turn it into, I have solutions. There's hope.
But that message has been like that even in the beginning, even since the Canada is broken moments, because it was Canada is broken and that I will bring hope.
Okay.
I thought it was a very good speech, first of all, struck the right note, reassuringly moment. I absolutely agree with Jason that one of his achievements is to destroy the party, but there's a cost to that. And when he's looking at what might have been tonight, where he might have been the Prime Minister, that long period when he was talking about the World Economic Forum and Bitcoin and firing the Canada governor, it printed itself into people's brains. And, you know, it wasn't a given that when Donald Trump reared his ugly head, it wasn't a given that that would have to be at the cost of the Conservative Party. Supposing there had been a leader who had a reputation as being reassuring and unifying and stately, people might have turned to him in that crisis. And the fact it didn't is part of his legacy as well. So yes, he has expanded the party's base in many ways, but he scared a lot of people on the road. And he now has an opportunity, now that the People's Party, let's assume, maybe we'll have to eat our words, but let's assume the People's Party is no longer a threat to the Conservatives. He has an opportunity now to pivot towards the center, to pivot towards the mainstream, and to continue with the tone that he set tonight.
Yeah, as Jason Kenney said, to rid himself of all of that and not have to worry about saying things to make them happy.
Oh, well, the first thing I'll note
Losers
is
Inc.
there was not a hint that he thinks the election result isn't what it is.
I mean, I guess it could literally just be Schitt's Creek, and he can be the new main character.
Result
Up Schitt's Creek without a paddle.
I think it's too easy to underestimate.
No, Jagmeet is for sure going to just become a celebrity. That all he's running.
Yeah.
He's going to just pivot into being a celebrity.
That's where we're going. It's singular for the entire evening. Every time.
Anyways, get a load of this Doug Ford song. It's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece.
Every day we got hard. It was an easy road, and we'll stop. We don't let.
Epic.
No, it's up to you and me.
There's like a chant.
I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
No.
Oh no. I posted it on Twitter. You probably only hear the one thing that went streaming. Here, it deserves a second play. My stream is gonna break now that I did this.
Oh my god. An easy road, and we don't let trade, so you gotta believe there's someone you would trust to make it. I know it's up to you and me.
It's all about the legitimate all in now. All in now. It's so like soft pop punk. It is an incredible song. Like, it is the best song that I've heard any conservative ever use. Like, someone was paid to write this song. He had another one for the last, like, for 2025, and it was not good. Nothing compared to this. It couldn't carry this fucking song's water. Incredible song. And like, I play on words because, like, get it, Doug?
Oh, wow.
My face hurts from laughing so much. Just fucking ads.
Oh, wait. Oh, Carney's talking?
Canada strong.
Wait. Oh, they're doing an Who is this lady doing the intro?
It's his wife.
I see.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Not the best.
Oh my god, please stop. This is so awkward.
That is Nepean. That is the spirit of Nepean beyond.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Good evening,
Wow.
everyone. What an evening.
He's like, I don't need to speak French anymore.
Who's ready to stand up? And who's ready? Who's ready to build Canada strong?
So when he says build Canada strong,
Oh, he was faking. He was making fun of Polya.
yeah.
All the work that they did. I want to thank them for their service to Canada.
That is an amazing thing to do, because that's what he's going to do to Trump too. Is just make fun of him, you know.
The other parties. I want to salute the contribution of Jagmeet Singh. I noticed his remarks. Leading on progressive values. Elizabeth May will be returning.
My stream's freaking out.
And I want to congratulate Pierre Poilievre on a hard-fought, fair, good campaign. His commitment
Uh-huh.
we both love. They all have many, many more contributions to our land. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Diana, for your work on this campaign.
The guy behind Carney looks like he's struggling or something. Oh gosh.
And compassion you bring.
He's got a strong eyebrow.
Tonight simply would not have been possible without you and without the support of our 4 children who inspire me.
I always forget that Carney has a trans.
I also want to say,
is it a trans or any?
Carney?
Yeah,
Really?
if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're thinking of Kamala.
Kamala?
Was stepdaughter or stepchild was an MB. Is an MB.
Looking forward to working.
Carney's daughter is like looks like that girl to the right. I mean, it might be her. That might be his daughter standing to the right with the
Oh
red
no,
frame.
no, no. I was right. Mark Carney's 24-year-old child, Sasha Carney, has come out as trans.
Oh.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
I want to thank the thousands of volunteers who are here tonight and across the country that gave their time.
Then why did it take him so long to answer how many fucking genders there were?
I'm like, get the question wrong.
I mean, he
Real
did
bad.
answer it correctly, but it was just like, why even, like, the way that he took it like a quiz. You know what I mean? Like, you should be like, get the fuck out of here, you fucking idiot. You fucking clown. You know what I mean? Like, that's the proper answer to that question.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
How Jagmeet answered them, actually.
But even then, you know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
like if he had a trans daughter, you know what I mean? Shouldn't he have been like, what the fuck is your problem, you fucking clown? You know what I mean?
Values that have been reinforced as I've met with Canadians across this great country.
Wow, 3 values. All right.
I want to highlight this evening. Humility.
It's just his book. It's literally it's his book. It's the back cover of his book.
Yeah. This has happened in every single speech this evening. Someone saying, I love you. The speaker going, I love you too.
Do my best. I'm just getting worked up here. These are values that I will do my best to uphold every day.
You betcha,
As
bud.
your Prime Minister. You betcha. Okay, well, you have to judge after this next section because I am going to begin.
Okay.
I'm going to begin with the value of humility and by admitting that I have much to be humble about. It's true. Over my long... it's not an applause line, it's just a statement of fact. Over my long career, I have made mistakes, and I will make more.
Well, that's ensuring.
To correcting them quickly and always learning from.
That's a straight up Obama line. That's a straight up Obama speech line.
Underscores the importance of government.
Well, I think they have a couple things in common in
As a
that
team
case.
in cabinet and in caucus, and working constructively with all parties.
Canada is a
across
major oil and gas producing.
Oh, wow. Okay, finally someone mentions.
and with Indigenous.
Took only how long?
His dad was a residential school teacher.
Bringing together labor
Oh,
and
yeah,
civil
I
society
know.
to advance
Real
the
fuck.
nation-building investments we need to transform our economy. Humility is also about recognizing that one of the responsibilities of government is to prepare for the worst, not hope for the best. As I've been warning for months, America is a land with essence, our water, our country.
I think I'm a little bit ahead of you.
Doesn't matter.
That's what I
Never ever happen. But we also must recognize the reality that our world has fundamentally changed. There's also me as I stand before you this evening. Humility, recognizing that, well, many...
It looks like he's just looking off camera when he's reading the teleprompter. It looks like there's someone telling him what to say. It's a bad eye angle. He needs to get taught by Trump how to do this.
Yeah.
I will always do my best to represent every...
Also, like, why would you have it up for the side like this?
That's what they always do, but he's like, he's not using his like periphery.
During this short campaign, I went to Saskatchewan and Alberta a couple of times. Even though we're liberals, it's tough. It's tough.
Uh-huh.
But I went because I intend to...
Oh, now speaking French. Oh, God. Here we go.
Throughout this campaign, Quebecers opened their doors to me and gave me their confidence. And I've been deeply touched by that, and I want to thank you. The French language, the culture, the very center of Canadian...
Oh, he's struggling. I'm like shocked at how bad his French is.
He's better at speaking French than he is at reading it.
Sent to Ottawa, we will ensure that Quebec will continue to prosper within a strong town. And you're a worker in Fort Mac, or an accountant from Toronto, or a worker from
Oh, my God.
Quebec, my government will work for all of you.
As we come here after this most consequential election, let's put an end to the division and anger of the past.
We are all Canadian, and my government will work for...
We'll make sure.
I began with humility, but Canadians are ambitious. And now, more than ever, it is a time for ambition. It is a time to be bold, to meet this crisis
with overwhelming positive force of a united Canada.
Build, baby, build. Build what? What are you talking about? This is like the Star Wars.
We're gonna build on a bunch of stolen land. And we're gonna have a bunch of fucking.
Are they building
graves?
pipelines? I bet. And other horrible things.
Yeah. Build, baby, build is just It's just the counter to drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
There have been turning points when the world's fortunes were in the balance. That was the case at the start of the Second World War.
No, they're talking about
just as it was at the end of the Cold War. And each time, Canada chose to
democracy and freedom. Okay.
as a free, sovereign, and ambitious nation, to lead the path of democracy.
Okay.
And because we are Canadian, to do so with compassion and generosity. We are once again at one of those hinge moments of history. Our old relationship with the United States, a relationship based on steadily increasing integration, is over. The system of open global trade, anchored by the United States, a system that Canada has relied on since the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped deliver prosperity.
He's talking about American hegemony. It's over. It's over. You're right. It's over.
But it's also our new reality.
It's so over.
We are over. We are over the shock of the American betrayal. But we should never forget the lessons.
Oh, God.
To look out for ourselves. And above all, we have to take care of each other. When I sit down with President Trump, it will be to discuss the future economic and security relationship between two sovereign nations. And it will be
three, actually.
Full knowledge that we
3 sovereign nations, actually.
Other options than the United States to build prosperity for all Canadians.
Canada, America, and Quebec.
The French, no.
We will strengthen our relations with reliable partners in Europe, Asia, and elsewhere. And if the United States no longer wants to be in the forefront of the global economy,
I almost spat all my water out. That was the stupidest thing I heard.
we are masters in our own home.
Oh, no.
Millions of thousand units. We will become an energy superpower. We will provide good careers in skilled trades and one economy, not 13.
Girl.
And we decide what happens here. We will need to think big and act bigger. Your phone's ringing. Right.
What?
Just hang on. It's okay. It might be. We will need to do things previously thought impossible at speeds we haven't seen in generations. It's time to build twice as many
Canadian skilled workers and Canadian lumber.
using Canadian technology, Canadian skilled workers, Canadian lumber.
Quebec lumber, actually.
Really? I was thinking they were going to finish cutting down all the old growth.
Provinces, territories, and indigenous peoples. It's time.
I have cats everywhere.
Hundreds of thousands of not just good jobs, but good careers in the skilled trades. It's time to build Canada into an energy superpower in both clean and conventional energy.
Okay.
Nuclear fusion, let's go.
An industrial strategy that makes Canada more competitive.
I'm waiting for it.
Fighting climate change. We will build one Canadian economy, not 13, with a government committed to free trade in Canada by Canada.
Well, no, you need to respect Quebec's sovereignty because 13 provinces isn't the same. One of them is a nation.
But even given that, I want to be clear. The coming days and months will be challenging, and they will call for some sacrifices. But we will by supporting our workers and our
The challenges ahead will be difficult, but that is clear. Major changes, such as the ones we're seeing, are always concerning. We have a long way to go, but I'm confident. I'm confident. I trust you, and I have confidence in all of Canada.
Adoration.
Canada is more than a nation. We are, and we always will be, a confederation. A sacred set of ideas and ideals built on practical foundations. That we know we're not always perfect, but we always strive to be good. We do things because they're right, not because they're easy. That we see kindness as a virtue, not as a weakness. Most importantly, we know that our strength lies in our resolve to work together as a country. It relies on our unity. You know, on the second day of this campaign, I went to Gander.
Do you hear that?
Oh, he's got a 9/11.
9/11.
Carney was an executive at Goldman Sachs during 9/11 who was implicated in insider trading.
And during a conversation, they don't get the cue card that they'd received from a young girl called Ellie. Her kindness motivates me to use my kindness. That touching phrase captures what Canadians instinctively know. That virtue is like a muscle that grows with its exercise. We become just by doing just acts, brave by doing brave acts. When we seek unity, unity grows. When we are Canadian, Canada.
This is a wild speech. It's a roller coaster.
I mean, he's given me nuclear fusion. He's given me America's no longer the head of global hegemony. He said 9/11.
He did.
United, we built a country that brings together.
Got some interesting French going on.
And beliefs that we built critical cultural institutions such as CBC, Radio-Canada.
United, we have created universal public health care. And now, in the face of this crisis, united, we are buying Canadian. We are exploring everything this country has to offer. We are supporting our friends and neighbors in the crosshairs of President Trump through a crisis that we did not create. United, we will win this trade war and build the strongest economy in the G7, an economy that works for everyone.
In recent months, Canadians have done their part. They came together to defend our country and our way of life, who we are. And I know that when we are threatened, we will fight.
Everything we have to get the best deal for Canada. We will protect our workers and businesses. And above all, we will build an independent future for our great country. A future that makes the greatest country on the earth even better.
Hey, Zelwood, you might have actually found something that we agree on. Because I don't support Mark Carney.
Yeah.
We definitely oppose the conservatives, though.
Yeah.
You see how that works? It's a little bit of nuance. Maybe you'll figure that out at some point.
Pick up on. Oh man, he just word salad, Carney, man.
I mean, he mentioned
Canada forever.
That the country needs right now, and reaching out across the country and across the aisle, talking about the millions of people that want a different outcome, saying if he about some of the things do now to take on Donald Trump. Ashley Burke is in that room.
Oh no, I can't listen to Ashley Burke. I can't listen to Ashley Burke until Ashley Burke right now. Let's go to me 2 years ago calling that this would happen. Think about the way that succession goes, though.
Wait, whose audio? Is it your audio?
Oh, yes.
The blowback of Trump winning in Canada will make Trudeau likely to win again.
Sorry, I keep forgetting that you're on one. You're on one screen. Like yeah, I can't even talk. You're only getting audio from one of the things that I'm sharing, so it has to be that one for you to be able to get the audio. Here it is.
Well, that's the thing. Think about the way that
That succession goes, though.
Like if Trump wins, the blowback of Trump winning in Canada will make Trudeau likely to win again, because there will be so many moderates who will be on the center who won't want to support Trudeau. But then if Trump comes into power, the threat of more conservative.
They're playing One More Time by Daft Punk right now.
Of course they are.
I don't know.
Here's
I'm not sure about Trump winning either, but I honestly don't know. I've talked about this many times.
Oh.
Trudeau has lost the popular vote in the last two elective polls.
We're in the same shirt.
Trump
Hell yeah.
To make people think that the Liberals are going to lose, because that gets people out to vote. And I would be very skeptical of those people who put out the polls in Canada. I really don't trust that.
one more.
I think that the liberals are fucking savvy, man, and I honestly think that I can see Olivier winning if Biden or a Democrat stays in power. I can totally see that happening. But it's a bunch where it's like, I don't know, it's this classic like underdog story where they love to make it seem like they're gonna lose, and then do the thing. They look at that type of how can we make populism work left of center, and they do this by externalizing these awful things and then pretending like they're gonna do with a little bit of concessions. And that's Canada. That's Canada.
That was November 2023. Okay, Zelwood, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? I've never been offended by anything you've said ever. If you're in my Discord saying stupid shit in a community Discord,
years now, and if you
that's different because you're talking to a people like a community. Me getting offended, you're not going to offend me. That's different. You really need to work on like your understanding of like concepts in not binary frameworks. Because like by me saying that I'm not okay with you saying these types of things in my Discord, that's different. I'm not offended by it. It's just harmful because that's not where the place is. If you want to, I don't even want to do it right now, but if you want to debate or if you want to be in my chat, that's different. But saying stupid shit in my Discord that is supposed to be for a community, it's not that. Those aren't places for debate. Those are places for a community. If you understand the two things, then we can engage. But otherwise, saying that I was offended by something is just showing that it says more about you than me.
We'll keep those pictures up and keep talking. I would note, though, that right now, 166 plus 7 from the NDP gets you in a comfortable spot for the Liberal Party. If you might have a minority, but you've got a pretty strong way to get to a majority, and you don't have to work with the bloc to do it.
A minority is a minority.
Yeah, except there's an NDP. There's an NDP who doesn't have a leader.
Yes, but I don't think there's a lot of.
That's true.
On the part of Mark
That's
Carney
true.
Or on the part of Canadians to have a new.
No, I'm not suggesting it. For sure.
Formal agreement with the NDP, and the NDP is going to do what it needs to do, which is support the government because it can't afford to have another election campaign.
I will point out, though, that the numbers have ticked up here just over the course of the past 5 minutes, and we'll explain a little bit more what we're looking at in a second. Andrew, what did you make of what Mr. Carney had to say? The Prime Minister, rather.
I thought humility was a well-chosen theme for several reasons. One is the Liberals had a near-death experience here. If Donald Trump had not blundered into the whole thing, they would not have had this result. Secondly, because at one point people were talking about them getting 200 seats, but you could feel the air slowly going out of the campaign in the last couple of weeks. They're lucky it didn't carry on for another couple of weeks. Third, because Mr. Carney has many strengths, but he's always been the smartest guy in the room, and that has its perils. You can impair your judgment, alienate other people, and this is not a moment, God knows, for Trump.
I think the point went over his head.
We're heading into very perilous times, facing up against somebody who wishes to do us.
You didn't email me.
Cross-party cooperation. I must say,
Did you email me? You didn't. You came into my Discord and you sent fucking text blocks. I simply asked you to send me an email, and I would send you the essay.
They will understand that this is the times we're in.
Yeah, there we go.
Project strength. I said this earlier tonight. It's not going to come from one party beating its chest and saying.
I mean, I am annoyed, but I'm not gonna. You're misinterpreting me. I don't get offended. I feel that there's harm in things that people say, but like I'm privileged enough to not get offended. You know. So like you're wrestling with shadows. Anyways, I'm not gonna spend my stream fucking arguing with you again. Thanks for watching, though. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. We do appreciate it.
I think changes a bit of the calculation.
We're just yapping.
Comments. The other thing is, although he
yapping
was
elections
at the end of the campaign, it is hard to be in the House of Commons and to face
how much money on PP announcing he's contesting the results in his writing and then quietly not doing so.
Yeah, I think that's probably happening.
Reset.
Yeah.
Maybe there are
I think so, yeah.
Put in there to reach out to Mr. Poilievre's voters, not just to say that I will represent you, but that I have heard the concerns that you voiced through Mr. Poilievre, and I will address them.
Well, a middle-class tax cut, not as big as what the Conservatives promised, but that'll be one of the first things. But you're right. We've never seen a Mark Carney in the House of Commons. We don't know how that's going to go. We don't know how he will respond when if he is attacked. I tend to agree with Andrew. I don't think the calm and decorum will last particularly long, but we'll see where the night ends. And so I'm going to turn to David Cochrane now to give us a sense of where we are, where we might be going, or why we might not go to sleep ever again.
Yeah, it's 20 after 3 back home in Newfoundland and Labrador, and I still have friends text me. It's like, it's going to be majority or minority. And the answer is we kind of still don't know why.
That's arguing semantics.
They are still coming in. The advanced
Synonyms don't necessarily mean
Child. You are a child. Okay? You are a child. I'm not going to engage in your fucking childish arguments.
Let me see if I get it on the first side. There we are. Port Moody, Coquitlam. Okay, right here, you look at this, 215 of 220 polls reported.
If this is your creative output, then that's cool. I'm fine with it.
Lead. When we started looking at this at 12:30 Eastern, the Conservatives had a 900 vote lead. Then the advanced polls came in 45 minutes later and a flip to an 1,100 vote Liberal lead. Just have a look at this trend line. We show you how the vote went in this particular riding.
So they only had 5
votes close together, but see that pretty much the blue line was right
pretty much over
all the way until it wasn't. And so that's what happened in Port Moody, Coquitlam. There's a similar story playing out in the Ontario riding of Nipissing, where a 1,000
You are a disingenuous child, Zoe.
became a 1,000 vote Liberal lead when the advanced polls came in, and they just flipped like that. So right now, Rosie, like
you asked me for an essay.
Oops, I'm in the wrong province entirely.
And then when I respond to you to say that, okay, then you say, why do you want to keep your essay secret? You are a disingenuous child.
That is such a good tweet. You need it.
She was ahead by 1,000 votes not that long ago, but with one poll reporting.
I love it.
Work because Pauline Roquefort has a pretty
the ideology.
If Poilievre lost his seat tonight, it could very well be the first time he's ever pleasured a woman.
400 votes behind. This exercise of
I think in the video, like the stream, our voices aren't aligning with our movement, so it looks funny.
Look at the Bloc Québécois lead. It's 28, right? There's one poll left to come, but that's an advance poll probably, or a special ballot. And that's the sort of place where the Liberals put a lot of votes to that long Eastern, and remember, 7.3.
Bro, Zoe, you need to go to Reddit. Just go to Reddit, okay? Just go to Reddit and you will enjoy yourself. There will be lots of people who speak and talk like you and talk in circles and have semantic arguments about nothing.
Adult uses their words. A child resorts to swear words. I'm a 30-year-old child. Fuck.
Zoe, I'm begging you to just go to Reddit, man. Just go to Reddit. Please.
I actually don't think
when you look at things like Milton East, Halton.
I don't know. I mean, the seats are still going to fluctuate, I think, for a bit, but I don't think they're getting a majority.
Well, Rosie made a good point to say that the 7 of the NDP would pick the...
Right, 15 polls, and if some of that is advanced polling.
Bro, I'm begging you to just go. You will have a great time.
Polls coming in, right? If there's 3 polls left there.
Rosie made a good point of saying that the 7 seats from the NDP could go to the Liberals, and which would give them a majority, which would be the exact same thing that we have now, which would just be a false majority because of the NDP, and then it would just neutralize the NDP forever. There would be they're non-factor at this point, but they would be done. They'd just be consolidated into the Liberals.
Yeah.
Going back to this. The advanced
manifesto.
From all the way back and get to a 46 vote lead.
You need to write a manifesto.
This is special ballot.
Oh no! Please no.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Republican teaching workers in this riding. People who go to work, in the oil patch in Alberta, or in oil projects up the coast of North Africa and South America. So if it's a lot of people,
it sounds like you're learning.
Here in the oil and gas sector, the Conservatives are very much party advisory and have made that pitch in this part of Newfoundland and Labrador. So this is one that, if you look at what we're seeing in Quebec, Ontario, and BC, the late advanced officials seem to favor the Liberals. This is one where the Liberals could, if that fewer snowbirds.
Then maybe this is a hit. Is that possible?
I love it.
I'm going to be like the Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's seats here where you take one from the NDP, so that moves it to 167 to get Vancouver Kingsway. Brampton, North Caledon will be a one you take.
Why would you think that?
From the Conservatives, Terrebonne.
Why would you think I have an attention span? That sounds like a projection. You're seeking something. I don't have that.
We're coming full circle. Let's go.
You weren't even arguing with me about who created it. If it was Portugal and Mexico, you weren't even arguing with me about the actual validity of the policy. You're like, well, Portugal did it first. You're an absolute child. What are you even arguing? I'm not doing this. This is ending here.
The city moves to the suburbs and you move to the end.
Gateway truck theory.
It's there.
Okay, is that what I promise you? It's the election night. There's other fucking people trying to get election coverage. I promise you, I will devote hours talking to you. Not tonight, okay? I promise you, I will spend an entire night talking to just you on stream.
These guys too, because they've also got.
I don't want to do this tonight. It's the fucking election. I'm sorry.
You faked me out there. I thought you were looking at Adrian.
Cross-eyed at this point.
That's right. Let me quickly go through 3 ridings, one of which David Cochrane mentioned in BC.
Kelowna.
Too close to call. So in Kelowna, look at those numbers. And to David's point, 2 polls yet to report. Kelowna is a place that has only elected right-of-center candidates.
You're a moderate liberal. Shocking. I'm shocked.
With one exception, and that was Stephen Fuhr winning in 2015. He is clinging to a very slim lead there right now. Okay, let's go to Vancouver Kingsway. Don Davies has held this riding since 2008. By the way, this is the riding where that terrible tragedy happened.
Oh, this is the riding.
Kingsway, but again, really close.
So I was actually wrong. I was actually wrong with this thing that I said, but still, it's directly beside
one
it.
More riding.
Yeah.
Westminster. And again, 286. Quite too close to report there. And David, let me
I
ask,
think
are we
all the politicos have ADHD or something?
Just kind of guessing.
Must be something in the water.
It varies from riding to riding, but well, I'm told no. And the people who are like running the call, Meg Banks, our producers, a lot of this, if not all of this, we're talking advanced polls and special ballots, and we know the Liberals dominated that, and we're seeing it. So, like, we're wondering what flipped to get to 167.
If you're just gonna,
Brampton, North Caledon, it was blue.
I'll humor you to just get the engagement on my Twitch channel.
Hell yeah.
500 vote lead for the Conservatives. Now it's a 500 vote lead for the Liberals. Advanced polls coming in.
I already did that. This is something that we already did weeks
There
ago.
are these seats. We're looking at the Julian riding in. Oops, I'm not back to the last there because that'll just confuse everybody. But you go back to the Greater Vancouver areas, right? This is the Conservative one.
The last one. Oh yeah, big win. Conservative. That's a lot.
9 polls to come in this, and the NDP running in third. Look at the gap there, 286. You can see that getting chewed up pretty fast with
But the
advanced vote
NDP
coming
in third is pretty.
Well, look, there's a whole bunch of weird vote splits. I mean, you look at Southwestern Ontario, the way they lost their seats down there to the Conservatives. But in this one, if Jake Sawatsky did what most of the Liberals did on that Easter weekend in banking a lot of vote, he's still very much in this race. That gets you to 168,
Yeah, okay.
And so there is the path. It is there. Yeah. Whether it comes through, we'll have to see.
I mean, why would I publish something that is a redundant argument?
Some more close races.
This is the thing, is like, I don't need to, this is the, like, you aren't presenting an argument that is worth me publishing against, you fucking child.
It elected Stephen Ellis, the Conservative incumbent, in second. Pretty significant margin there, we gotta say, but still not called. And let's move over to the west of the country. Let's go to Calgary Centre. Look at the numbers there, where you have the Conservative Greg McLean in the lead, but not projected elected. But you know who else is in Calgary Centre right now? The CBC's Aaron Collins is there, I believe, at Greg McLean's watch party or headquarters tonight. Aaron, what's going on?
I've been here all night. Greg McLean trying to win this seat for the 3rd time in 6 years. And The vibe was distinctly low earlier in the evening. His Liberal competitor, Lindsay Lunau, was doing very well.
See how normal this person is talking in comparison to fucking...
Real surges from McLean. He's feeling confident. He's telling me that even if whatever happens in this riding, whatever happens across the country, whatever happens in that riding in Ottawa that everyone's watching, he's got full support for his leader and full support for the future of the Conservative government, the Conservative party moving forward. So Greg McLean feeling good about a third time around here in Calgary Centre, Catherine.
He almost just wandered through your shot there, Aaron. That's how good he's feeling. Thank you very much.
And he's feeling good.
Aaron Collins in Calgary Centre. Rosie. Okay, thanks.
He literally has a drink.
A couple more leaders that we have not called. We'll start here with Pierre Poilievre in the riding of Carleton. So he's still trailing the riding of Carleton. He has led in his riding once all night, but he is picking away a little bit at that Liberal lead, changing slightly. And again, because there's still a lot of polls to report, because again, it was the longest ballot effort, because again, we don't know about those advanced polls. We're not going to call this yet. Also, Pierre Poilievre has been elected 7 times there, so we're gonna wait and see how things unfold for him. Let me show you what's happening though to Jagmeet Singh, and as he said himself,
getting lapped. He's getting lapped.
His leader, he will not win tonight.
So bad.
Because again, some of the issues that David talked about there, a 1,200 vote lead for Wade Chang in Burnaby Central, but again, 5 more polls that still have to report, and again, not sure where the advanced polls are there, so don't know if that will be a Liberal win or not, but Jagmeet Singh.
They still haven't called what government it's
where
going to be.
some of the leaders are. Let me show you again where we are here on the board, just beneath me. 167 for the Liberals.
They're 5 away. That must feel...
145 for Conservatives, 23 for the Bloc, 7 for the NDP, and 1 for the Green. That lone Green is Elizabeth May. I'm going to go to the panel one last time if I can, because I do think that they might be packing up, my friends. Yeah. Which is, I get it. Like you thought we were just going to be here for 6 hours, and now we're starting a negotiation.
We're starting a negotiation. Funny.
That's amazing. Like we're unionizing.
This two-party race kind of split the country wide open. A big job for the next prime minister, the elected one, because it's going to be difficult. I also believe on the side of the Conservatives that in the cold light of morning, these numbers aren't going to look as good as they look tonight. I remember the PQ leader coming very close. PQ2 or the government saying in an interview the next day, I've been in government and I've been in opposition and I know the difference. There is only one winner. The Bloc probably not unhappy despite its losses because it has and gave this to Mark Carney.
He said as much too.
It's problems that delivered. But in exchange, the notion that Mark Carney could turn the NDP and just ignore the Bloc. Non-starter.
But he has support for that. What he's going to have to do is make sure that he takes care of Quebec.
Yes, but what you hear when you talk to people who lent the Liberals about this year is we're not sure that he cares or understands anything about Quebec. And that can come back to haunt the Liberals in 2 years.
Yeah. Andrew?
Divided but not polarized. It's extraordinary that in the middle of a crisis, when in a lot of countries around the world, extremist parties have been doing extremely well, Canadians gave a lot of their votes to 2 pretty mainstream parties. The 2 parties themselves moved along towards each other. I'm not saying you should always agree on everything, but it was a return to normal politics. And I think you saw some of that tonight. I think both Mr. Poilievre and Mr. Carney have reasons both to be grateful that they escaped the worst that might happen to each of them, because at one point or another, each of their parties was looking at pretty bad results. But I think neither of them can come out of this claiming that they're the king of the world. They were both given a proper dose of humility, and I think you could see that tonight.
I wonder where things go next, especially for the Conservatives and the NDP, because I think you'll have some soul searching within the party's membership.
All right, friend. I think I'm going to leave you for the evening.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Anytime. That was awesome.
Yeah, we should do sometime very soon.
Hell yeah, I'll be around. Hell yeah.
I think the
Take care, comrade.
Enjoy.
Can you formula, which is basically just based on splitting your opponents?
Yes.
Or do you want to win by having a broader coalition? And I don't think that the caucus knows the answer to that yet. And I think the answer from caucus, actually, I don't know who is part of the caucus at the moment, so maybe I shouldn't be saying that. I don't know that the old caucus versus the party membership is the same versus the people who voted. So I think there will be a lot of kind of internal party soul searching in the days, weeks, and months ahead.
Yeah, I will say that margin between Pierre Poilievre and the Liberal Bruce Vanjoy is
okay.
shrinking,
I got some rants.
So we will see whether if he has a
Thanks
seat.
so
I
much
think
to Jazz for hanging out. Appreciate it.